Get connected. Visit graybar.com/connected buildings to learn more.
This is the Verizon Extra Innings Show. Verizon, the most reliable 5G in St. Louis.
The pitch. A swing and a high fly ball. That's it, deep, but not deep enough. Under it, the center fielder, Moniak, makes the catch. This ballgame has come to an end. And a bad loss today for the Cardinals, where they had a 3-run lead, but the Rockies kept the pressure on. And a 2-hour, 27-minute game goes to Colorado, 6-5.
The voice of the Cardinals, John Rooney, had that right when he said it was a bad loss. It was a bad loss indeed. Cardinals lose to Colorado by a 6-5 score. Welcome into the Extra Innings Show. Not that all this really matters to you, but I'm just going to kind of tell you what's going to be happening between now and 8 o'clock because it's a little bit convoluted here as we go through the afternoon. I'm going to be with you here for the Extra Innings Show, and the Extra Innings Show is being presented by Graybar. Graybar is your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. I'm going to be with you for just a few minutes here, and then we'll get the news with Michael Calhoun, and then Kevin Wheeler is going to take over with the Redbird Rush Hour, an extended edition. It's going to be like the Redbird Rush Hour almost and a half. For those of you who are watching the video stream, you can see Kevin, but he's not going to talk here during the Extra Innings Show. He is just a viewer at this point. So then I'm going to make my way from Busch Stadium to the radio station where I will join Kevin. We'll do the rest of Redbird Rush Hour together, and then I'll stick around for Sports Open Line, which goes to 8 o'clock. For those of you who are on the video stream, good news for you. You don't have to do anything. This entire video stream will take you through the Extra Innings Show, Redbird Rush Hour, and Sports Open Line. So we'll have all of that for you here on KMOX. Man, this game stunk. This is a bad loss. You can't lose 2 of 3 to the Rockies when just a couple days ago you're 3 games out of a playoff spot. Yesterday's game, if you were listening to the Extra Innings Show yesterday, my big thing yesterday was that was kind of a really random game and lots of hard hits that didn't go for hits and things like that. I can't have that same conversation today. That's not the storyline today. This is one where the Cardinals have some missed opportunities, and it's also a rare letdown from the bullpen. In fact, I think the biggest storyline of this game is the fact that the bullpen has been so good since the trade deadline, and this is the first time that it felt like they could have used some of those guys that they moved on from. Jojo Romero has been fantastic lately. He wasn't fantastic tonight. Give the Rockies credit for creating the matchups that they did. We know that Goodman can hit home runs for sure, and he did that today. And that's kind of my takeaway from this one is that the bullpen's been pretty good. It's really hard to be too upset with the bullpen for letting one go when they've been as good as they've been recently, but it feels like the Cardinals could have put more runs on the board as this game went along to not be in a position where a 2-run ninth could turn a 1-run lead into a 1-run deficit. What's on deck presented by Chesterfield Fence and Deck, the sign you have the very best. Well, there's a few things on deck. From a Cardinal standpoint, they're going to be back at it coming up on Friday night. They're going to welcome in the Yankees for a 3-game series, and it's going to be Andre Palante who is on the mound. Also, what's on deck is the 4:30 news and then Redbird Rush Hour. Kevin Wheeler is going to start that solo. I'm going to try to break speed records, making it from the ballpark to the station, and then I will join Kevin in just a few moments. So that is a very quick edition of the Extra Innings Show, but don't worry, we've got lots more Cardinals baseball talk to get to as we roll on. Redbird Rush Hour starts in just a few moments right here on KMOX.
This is Tom Ackerman. Like an MVP candidate, Chesterfield Fence and Deck, one of St. Louis's top names in home improvement, with a commitment to put quality and professionalism first in everything that they do. The best and longest lasting outdoor products available from Chesterfield Fence and Deck. Skilled installation teams who will help you with your outdoor project. Mention me, Tom Ackerman. You'll receive 20% off your next outdoor project with Chesterfield Fence and Deck, chesterfieldfence.com.
At Sandberg Phoenix, we are more than just a law firm. Our attorneys are committed to you, your business, and your community. From startups to established businesses to estate plans, we are ready to serve you in the areas of business litigation, intellectual property, health law, and products liability. With offices in Missouri and Illinois, you can conveniently visit us today at sandbergphoenix.com. That's sandbergphoenix.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertising.
Hey, it's Matt Pauley for i3 Broadband, the internet provider in the Pauley household. I think you'd love it if you had them as well. We've got the 2 gig package at our home, 2 gig upload, 2 gig download mirrored, and we're spending less money than we did with the cable company for lesser service. Plus, right now, they've got savings over $400 beyond their already low standard pricing. You got questions? They've got answers. Call 877-976-0711, and they've got people there who can answer all your questions, or head to their website, i3broadband.com.
At 4:35, we've got sunshine. It is 87 degrees downtown at the Arch. In a KMOX first with the new school year for SLPS, that's the city district starting Monday. AFT St. Louis Local 420, that's the union, is signaling no confidence in Superintendent Millicent Borashati.
KMOX has confirmed there is a petition drive underway. Local 420 spokesman Byron Clemens.
And we were a little surprised to see in the audit that some of the practices that were of a concern under the old regime may have transferred over to the new regime, but we'll find out.
AFT Local 420 had no decision in selecting Borashati as the superintendent. That was the previous school board.
And we were a little surprised to see in the audit that some of the practices that were of a concern under the old regime may have transferred over to the new regime, but we'll find out.
Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
A St. Louis favorite restaurant for barbecue is closed after a sinkhole opened up.
This is Stuart McMillan in Midtown, where MSD workers continue to dig out the crumbled road next to Pappy's Smokehouse. The hole that opened up is about 4 to 5 feet deep in parts, and it collapsed, crushing a sewer pipe after a delivery truck drove over this weak part of the road. The rear axle broke off, but has since been towed out. Pappy's co-owner, John Matthews.
We'll need a little cushion to clean some stuff up, but fingers crossed we'll be rolling again by Friday. Fingers crossed.
For now, there's a sign outside Pappy's directing people to their sister store, Bogart Smokehouse in Soulard, as if to say, it's okay, you could still have barbecue today.
GE Appliances is making a major move to expand manufacturing in the U.S.
The company says it will shift production of refrigerators, gas ranges, and water heaters out of China and Mexico and invest over $3 billion in its American plants over the next 5 years. The plan includes upgrades to plants in Kentucky, Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, and South Carolina, with a focus on automation, advanced technology, and increased output across all product lines. Stacey Lynn, CBS News.
Tonight, a partly cloudy sky, low 68 degrees. For Thursday, sunshine, pretty nice day for August, high at just 89, 71 for tomorrow night, getting into the weekend to start. Friday, going to be hot and humid with a high of 95. Right now, it's 87 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
You might know Graybar for cable and connectivity, but there's one more thing you should know us for that can help optimize your project's total value, like our comprehensive electronic solutions for security, AV, wireless, and networking, or our specialized job site services, like material staging and kitting, or maybe our logistics specialists, who can help you identify efficiencies and ensure just-in-time delivery. So consider what one more thing you may need to optimize your bottom line and get to know us for that. Yep, Graybar does that.
Selling your car online sounds easy. Snap a few pics, list a price, then what? Wait weeks? Haggle with strangers? At Suntrop Ford, we actually make it easy to sell your car. Visit Suntrop Ford Kirkwood or Westport, and our expert appraisers will give you a fast, fair offer on the spot. Or skip the trip and get an instant quote at suntropford.com. No guesswork, no games, just the best price. Visit suntropford.com today. Get more at Suntrop Ford.
News, traffic, and the latest on the Redbirds. This is the Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX.
All right, guys, welcome into the early part of the Redbird Rush Hour. Matt Pauley is moving back towards the station so he can be ready for the rest of Redbird Rush Hour and Sports Open Line coming up later. So he'll be joining us in a few minutes. Maybe it'll be top of the hour somewhere in there. In the meantime, I got a few things I want to get to, but mostly I want to get to a lot of your reaction. We got a bunch of messages coming in. If you're watching the stream on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, you just throw your comment right in there. We got a bunch of people on YouTube have already started throwing in comments, which is great. We want to air it out, man. We got 90 minutes for Redbird Rush Hour today, so plenty of time to get your thoughts, and we'll kind of kick those around with you. Plus, Matt and I have a few other things that we're going to have planned, especially for the next hour. But yeah, this look, it just sucks. I mean, John Rooney said it. That's a bad loss. It's a bad series loss. It's bad to lose the season series to one of the worst teams in baseball history, which is what the Rockies are. They're one of the worst teams in Major League Baseball history. And there's no explaining it away. There's no, well, that's baseball. It's just bad. That's it. There's nothing else to say about it. It's bad. I've gotten a few reactions. I'm going to mix some of these in from the chat as well, and I'll throw them up on the screen if you're watching. And, of course, if you're listening on 104.1 KMOX or if you're on 1120, I will read them for you so you can see those. And I've gotten some reaction on Twitter as well to this game from some of the posts. So I'm going to try to mix a little bit of all of these things in together but I want to be clear, like right up front. Nothing that I'm going to say is an excuse or an explanation. When you lose to a team like this, and look, Bernie tweeted this a little bit ago. I'll give Bernie the credit for looking up the numbers. So the Cardinals are 2-4 against the Rockies this year. So the Rockies have won 2 out of every 3 against you. They've won 4 out of 6 against you. And they've only won 24% of their games against everybody else. And in the 6 games that the Cardinals faced the Rockies, they scored a total of 18 runs. 18 runs in 6 games against a team with a 6.50 ERA on the season, and keeping in mind that 3 of those games were at Coors Field. So yeah, no explaining that away, no excusing that. The only question that we're getting, at least the question that I'm seeing, is essentially like who's to blame and why. And because we've got a bunch. I'll throw a couple of them on the screen. And again, I'm not picking on anybody. I want to be clear. This is not about yelling at anybody or being mean or whatever. It's just more about the reality of the thing. So Sam throws on the chat, this is a fireable offense, losing the season series to a horrible Rockies team. Okay, but who? I'm assuming you're talking about the manager. My guy, the problem on this team is talent. They don't have enough. They didn't have enough quality starting pitching. They had enough numbers. They had guys that can throw innings. They don't have enough good starting pitching. They don't have a good enough lineup. I'm going to outline some more of this about the lineup as we go. But since June 1st, this is one of the 5 worst offenses in baseball. Only 4 teams have scored fewer runs since June 1st. All right. So yeah, April was pretty good offensively. May was so-so. Since June 1st, it's been a bad offense. It's been a bottom 5 offense. And one of the reasons is they don't hit enough home runs. You can complain all you want. You can tell me batting average this and batting average that. They're one of the bottom teams in baseball in hitting home runs. They have no room for error. It's hard to string hits together. The Cardinals on the season rank dead in the middle of Major League Baseball in batting average. And even since June 1st, they're 22nd. But everything else since June 1st is bottom 5 or 6. In slugging since June 1st, they're 3rd worst. The only team that has slugged worse than the Cardinals since June 1st is Pittsburgh. Guys, it's a talent problem. That's a bigger problem. And I know it sounds comforting to think that if you just change one guy, it changes everything. It's just not the reality. It's just not the reality. I don't know what to tell you. Like when you've scored 18 runs in 6 games against the worst pitching staff in baseball, and I get it. Like this is a weird team. They're neither terrible nor good. This is what 500 looks like, guys. It's going to mystify you sometimes. It's going to baffle you sometimes. I've been calling this the season of weird, and it is. Because every time you think they're done, they go beat good teams. Every time you think, maybe they might not be terrible, they lose series like this. It's been happening all season long, man. You take 2 of 3 from the Dodgers, 2 of 3 from the Cubs, and then lose 2 of 3 to the Rockies. How's that make any sense? Well, it doesn't, unless you're looking at it through the perspective of this is what a 500 team looks like. It's a 500 team that we didn't think was going to be super competitive coming in. Jeremy throws in, we have too many impatient hitters. That's true, Jeremy. When you're talking about a team that early in the year did a pretty good job of getting on base, again, they're only like 5 or 6 teams worse than the Cardinals in on-base percentage since June 1st. So impatience leads to a lot of these problems. Absolutely. And there are a lot of issues. Like today's game is a loss because Jojo Romero blew it in the 9th inning. I was texting about this with Matt Pauley. It's not like it was a horrible decision to go to the guy. Matt Svenson's not available. He threw 3 innings yesterday. O'Brien went in the 8th, and you could have flipped O'Brien and Romero and maybe gotten the same result because the Rockies would have had Goodman waiting to pinch hit whenever Romero came in anyway. This is a game that's on the pitcher not doing his job. That's what it is. It's not like, they used Leahy earlier in the game, and he gave up a run, and they used O'Brien. So basically for the lead late, you had O'Brien and Romero, which are the guys you've been using there. Those are the guys you were using when you beat the Cubs and when you beat the Dodgers. This is not about who's pitching. It's about how that guy pitched, and Romero didn't pitch well today. Too many bad pitches, too many non-competitive pitches out of the zone, too many deep counts, too many pitches, and eventually he hung one that got hit 436 feet. One thing I think is important, and we're going to take a quick timeout, and we're going to get to more of your messages, and this is just the beginning. We're going to get to as many messages as we can until 6 o'clock. And that's really the whole plan here, is to try to get messages, add some context like I'm talking about with the offense since June 1st, and we'll keep on going this way. But guys, the most important, if people get mad at me, I don't care. The reality is this: players play baseball. You can blame the people that put the team together, but we've been talking about that, and that's why those people are changing. That's why Mo is stepping away. This is why Chaim Bloom and his people are taking over the major league staff next year, but they've already taken over player development. They've already impacted the draft. They're already doing that. The reason that change is coming is because the talent accumulated at the major league level has not been good enough for multiple years. It's a talent problem. That's what it is. You guys know here on this show, Gas House Gang, whatever, none of us hold back when we think the manager deserves to be criticized. None of us. Not me, not Matt, not Bernie, not Tom, not Ronch, nobody. But the point is, you can't do enough when you don't have enough. And when you're going to the guys that are set up to be those guys after the trade deadline because you move the other dudes and they don't do the job, then they didn't do the job. And if you don't hit enough, if you only score 3 runs a game against the worst team in baseball that comes in with a 6.5 ERA, so the league is averaging 6 runs a game, and you're averaging half that against them, that's not the lineup construction. That's not the manager making calls on bunts or steals. It's still players not doing their jobs. We'll get more of your messages as we go along. Early edition of the Redbird Rush Hour turning into the full edition after the top of the hour here on KMOX.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. 1 discount per household.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson. Paid for by Action Matters. Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textingterms.us. Texting enrolls you for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop to opt out.
Attention parents of children who have used the gaming platform known as Roblox. If your child was a victim of sexual abuse or harm of any kind while using the Roblox platform, you may be entitled to compensation. Roblox is facing multiple high-profile lawsuits, including an ongoing class action, alleging it failed to protect users from foreseeable dangers that led to the grooming, exploitation, and sexual abuse of minors on the platform. Claims allege Roblox turned a blind eye to predators, unsafe games, and deceptive monetization practices that targeted children. Victims were contacted through in-game chats and coerced into private conversations on third-party apps. If you believe your child may have been a victim of grooming, sexual abuse, or harm of any kind while using the Roblox platform, you may be entitled to a cash settlement. Text our helpline now to find out if you have a viable compensation claim against Roblox. Text GONE to 32 32 32. That's GONE to 32 32 32. GONE to 32 32 32 32.
The Siteman Cancer Center spotlight how an innovative immunotherapy is showing promise against aggressive T-cell cancers. Joining us is Dr. John DiPersio.
Until very recently, until this paper and a few other groups in the world have sort of developed approaches for T-cell malignancies, there was no hope for patients who relapsed. There were no effective therapies. This is a way of treating these patients that would normally have no other recourse.
For more information, visit siteman.wustl.edu.
Hello, fellow Missourians. This is your Congressman Bob Onder. My top priority is serving you. Whether you need help with a VA claim, Social Security, Medicare, or any other federal issue, my team and I are here to cut through the red tape and give you answers. In the last 6 months alone, we have returned over $1 million to taxpayers. Call my office or visit my website, onder.house.gov, to learn more. Missouri is my home, and I'm honored to serve you in D.C.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
You're listening to the Redbird Rush Hour on 1041 KMOX.
All right, little Redbird Rush Hour pregame going on here on KMOX. The full Redbird Rush Hour starting at 5 o'clock. Matt Pauley's coming back from the ballpark, and he and I will take care of the 5 o'clock hour, and then Matt will have Sports Open Line following that. And I got a lot planned, just messages, just the thoughts that you guys are sending. We got a ton of messages coming in on the stream, so let's knock out a few more of those. And look, everybody's going to be frustrated, right? 500 teams are pretty frustrating because they're neither terrible nor good, and that can lead to this weird back and forth that we've been talking about all season long. All right, Jeremy sends us a message through YouTube, says, when I was watching the game on my phone, I heard some boos in the stands. Yeah, you're going to hear that. And it's fair. Nothing wrong with booing when something bad is happening. I mean, everybody that watched the game today knows that that's a bad outcome against a bad team, and it means you lose the series. So, yeah, I heard the same thing. Obviously, you can see I'm in my home office with the game today. I'm broadcasting from the house instead of at the radio station, but I heard the same thing on TV. You could hear the boos, and this is the kind of time where you should hear the boos. When a team is not performing well, it's okay for fans to let them know that. A bunch of other ones I want to get to here. Let's see here. I got to go through this. We got so many today. I'm going to try to get as many of these again as we can. Kevin Nixon, Kevin earlier was mentioning that this is a fireable offense. Actually, that wasn't Kevin. That was Sam. But Kevin's asking who evaluates the talent. Well, I mean, look, it's the front office. They put together the team. The way that now that's not to say that coaching staffs and managers don't have say in who makes the team out of spring training and who goes up or down. Of course, they're all part of meetings, but ultimately the front office decides which free agents are we going to sign, which trades are we going to make, which players are we going to add to the 40-man roster, who's going to be, who's going to be on the 26-man roster as you go. And that's why it's a fair criticism. Like, look, I'm sitting here telling you the problem is a talent problem. There isn't enough of it. I got to find this message. We had a really good one. And I think this one is really important. Here we go. It came from Nick. Where is it, Nick? You sent a really good one that was about the no all-stars and all of that stuff. I'm going to pull this one up here. There you go. So Nick put one up there. Nick sent us a message. He said, JoJo has nothing to do with the Cardinals being a bad team. This roster's not good. No superstars, no devastating starters that scare hitters, nobody that's a force to be reckoned with. It's a bad team. The only part I would maybe slightly disagree with, Nick, is it's not a bad team. It's a mediocre team. I mean, 500 is the definition of mediocrity. But I will say, no superstars is correct. You don't have a hitter in that lineup that's an established star. Like, look, Ivan Herrera can hit. He's really good. But he's not that guy. Wilson Contreras is a good hitter. He's not that guy. Sonny Gray's pretty close to being the pitcher that other guys don't want to face. When he's on his game, he's money. But he's also in his mid-30s now, and he's not at his peak. So I think that's kind of the point, and that's what's going to have to change between now and sometime in the near future, whether it's 2026, 2027, or whatever. Like, what has to change is the talent level at the major league roster. You need more. You've got some good players that do some things well, right? You got a great shortstop that's probably going to win the Gold Glove. You got a center fielder that's a Gold Glove center fielder. Like, you have pieces, but they're imperfect pieces. And they don't all fit together. Too many guys, as we've talked about, for just a handful of spots, and they kind of cannibalize each other's playing time. And Tom sets this up really well. Tom Tovin sends in the message from Facebook, said, we don't have any dudes. We need dudes. Yes. And for those that aren't sure, the baseball parlance, a dude is capital D, dude. That means a stud. Yeah, and that's what it is. And a lot of it is that they haven't developed those guys over time. Now, maybe Herrera is that dude at some point. He's not that yet, but he's showing signs of being a really good major league hitter, a guy that can provide some power, that gets on base, that doesn't strike out. Really great. Like there's nothing to complain about, but he's a rookie and he's had some injuries that have kind of limited us from seeing like what his maximum potential could be. So yeah, as Sam points out, yes, Kevin, we have more talent than the Rockies. Of course you do. Of course you do. That's not really the point. And if the argument there is, well, if you have more talent than the Rockies, it must be on the manager. No, it isn't. The manager didn't hang a pitch on a 3-2 count to Hunter Goodman, who was the Rockies all-star representative. The manager didn't throw 30 pitches and walk guys or get deep into counts and fall behind on everybody. Jojo Romero did that. And Jojo Romero is one of the 2 or 3 guys that you're going to pitch in those situations now that Helsley's not here, now that Maton's not here. Because of, their failures before the trade deadline, you don't have the guys that you would normally have. So, no, again, you can be mad at the manager all you want. You could yell and scream about that from now until the end of time. There's no manager that's going to take a team that's shorthanded and make it into what you need it to be. It's talent first. And look, again, I don't disagree. I don't agree with the manager on a lot of things. I don't agree with his handling of Nolan Gorman throughout a lot of the year. I don't agree with him when he says Nolan Arenado's got to play when he's healthy. No, he doesn't. Playing time has to be with the best guys, especially in a year when you're not contending, when you're trying to learn as much as you can about Gorman and Sajasi and all the guys we've listed all season long. I don't need to keep listing them. So there are things that the manager deserves criticism for, and we've talked about those endlessly. But I'm not going to yell at him because he doesn't have enough good players, because he doesn't. That's just silliness. They don't, and that's what Chaim Bloom has to change. Eventually in free agency, certainly in player development, certainly in trades, they've got to have more talent. And they've got to have more talent spread out, because right now, not only do you not have enough, you also don't have pieces that fit right. All right, more coming up. Redbird Rush Hour with more of your reactions coming up after the news on KMOX.
Calling all future sportscasters, sharpen your September 16th in St. Louis. Join Cardinals beat reporters, broadcasters, and the legendary John Rooney, the voice of the Cardinals, for insider sessions on play-by-play, interviewing, reporting, and more. Then cap the day with a Cards-Reds game at Busch Stadium. Open to college students and broadcasting pros. Just $10 for students, lunch, and a game ticket. Space is limited. Registered by September 2nd at MissouriBroadcasters.org.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson. Paid for by Action Matters. Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textingterms.us. Texting enrolls you for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop to opt out.
Attention parents of children who have used the gaming platform known as Roblox. If your child was a victim of sexual abuse or harm of any kind while using the Roblox platform, you may be entitled to compensation. Roblox is facing multiple high-profile lawsuits, including an ongoing class action, alleging it failed to protect users from foreseeable dangers that led to the grooming, exploitation, and sexual abuse of minors on the platform. Claims allege Roblox turned a blind eye to predators, unsafe games, and deceptive monetization practices that targeted children. Victims were contacted through in-game chats and coerced into private conversations on third-party apps. If you believe your child may have been a victim of grooming, sexual abuse, or harm of any kind while using the Roblox platform, you may be entitled to a cash settlement. Text our helpline now to find out if you have a viable compensation claim against Roblox. Text GONE to 323232. That's GONE to 323232. GONE to 323232.
Do you know someone that deserves a new heating or cooling system at no cost? Lennox invites you to nominate a local hero in your community for Feel the Love and recognize someone who always gives back to others and just needs a little help to get their home comfort where it needs to be. To nominate a member of your community who serves others and deserves the recognition, visit www.feelthelove.com. Nominations will be accepted through August 31st. That's www.feelthelove.com.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, we still got some ball game traffic, I guess, because it's certainly busier than normally would be. If you're on 44 downtown, both ways between the bridges, it's heavy. It extends out onto westbound 70, which is bogged down from by Grand all the way to Jennings Station. A little bit at the airport, 270 to the Blanchette Bridge. A couple of pockets, 79 all the way out through 61. We had an earlier crash at Bryan Road. They cleared it a while ago, but it's extra volume. Westbound 364 from about Arena Parkway out through Mid Rivers is slow this afternoon. Southbound 170 bogs down at Delmar. Northbound north of Page up through Natural Bridge. We had an earlier crash there. Southbound 270 backs up south of Page to Olive. Both ways, though, between Doherty Ferry and Ladue are slow. The southbound side, the slowdown continues down to almost 44. Westbound 44 from 55 to Kings Highway. You've got heavy traffic west of Jameson out through Laclede Station. It's a little slow. Westbound 64 Boyle out to Clayton Skinkers jam, but it's slow most of the way to 270. Jams approaching Clarkson through Boone's Crossing. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet.com Traffic Center.
News, talk, cards. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
At 5 o'clock, we've got sunshine right now, 86 degrees downtown at the Arch. As you heard first from KMOX, St. Louis Public Schools teachers, Local 420, mull over a no-confidence vote in the superintendent, Millicent Boroschetti.
With the new school year starting, Local 420 President Byron Clemens tells KMOX they had no decision in making Dr. Boroschetti superintendent. That was the previous school board.
Our members are very concerned about the superintendent, and we'll have to see where we go from here. But there are concerns about the opening of schools, particularly this releasing the study at this particular time.
Clemens tells KMOX there is a petition drive circulating on the no confidence issue. As to when teachers could vote on that, still not known. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
And the state test results are in for the 2024-25 school year. Missouri students had the greatest gains in math and science test scores, closely followed. Fourth grade test scores declined in math and English, while fifth graders had lower math scores. During the State Board of Education meeting, board member Mike Matusik did not sound impressed.
Yes, it's better than last year, but still more than half of our students are sort of basic or below basic.
Education Commissioner Carla Esslinger tells MissouriNet there's more work to be done.
We are seeing an uptick. It takes a lot to get a little bit, even a percent. Are we where we need to be? Absolutely not.
The Francis Howell School District will continue to be under the microscope of Missouri State Auditor Scott Fitzpatrick.
We did an audit on Francis Howell last year that came out at the end of the year. And they got a poor rating, which is the lowest possible outcome for one of our audits.
Dr. Mike Dominguez was supposed to take over as superintendent of Francis Howell on July 1st, but instead walked away from the position with a $229,000 contract payout. 4 days later, he was hired by a school district in Oklahoma. Fitzpatrick says his office will look into that.
A lot of questions I think that taxpayers deserve to get answers to.
A sinkhole opened up on the street next to Pappy's Smokehouse on Olive, forcing them to close temporarily.
A couple of workers say they were here when the sinkhole opened up. A delivery truck was rolling by, and it caught the rear tires in the sinkhole, breaking the axle. Somehow that truck drove out. Pappy's co-owner, John Matthews.
Lost our some of our utilities as far as Wi-Fi. There's an issue with the sewer. It got crushed, and we're just waiting for the city to get us back together so we can get rolling again.
He says, fingers crossed, Pappy's will be back open Friday. In Midtown, Stuart McMillan, KMOX News.
Missouri health officials confirm a case of an extremely rare brain infection has been identified in the state.
State epidemiologist Nathan Kofarnis.
This does involve an adult who was reportedly water skiing at the Lake of the Ozarks, and that's kind of what we can share about the specifics. It is an extremely serious condition when people are hospitalized.
Fatal in 97% of the cases. It's called Naegleria fowleri, a microscopic single-celled free-living amoeba that can cause a rare deadly infection of the brain. It's found in warm, fresh water, such as lakes, rivers, and ponds. Best prevention tips include holding your nose shut, using nose clips, or keeping your head above water when taking part in activities in bodies of warm, fresh water, especially if you jump or dive into the water. But again, Kofarnis says this is extremely rare, but the state wants everyone to be aware it's out there during the summer months. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
RECA applications are now available for victims of the Westlake landfill radioactive waste.
Right now, the application is only available on paper, with an online version set to come in December. Daniel Spradley with St. Louis County's outreach team says they have set up a webpage to help connect residents in need of assistance with organizations.
Just Moms STL has good information on how to help you find different ways of helping you find documents. We also have the St. Louis County RECA support at stlouiscountymo.gov that can help you with any information you need on getting documents from St. Louis County.
She says anyone with questions at the federal level should contact U.S. Senator Josh Hawley's office. Applications remain open until the end of 2027 when RECA is no longer authorized. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
And it's time for the Wall Street Wrap, sponsored by Stifel and Ophthalmology Associates. I'm with Stifel Director of Investments, Eric Roberts. So how do we finish up today?
Well, stocks rallied today. The S&P 500 closed 0.3% higher at a record 6,466. The Dow gained 463 points, or 1%, closing at 44,922. And the NASDAQ advanced 0.1%, closing at 21,713.
We've heard about consumer inflation, now wholesale inflation.
Yeah, this market continued to rally as investors wait that next round of wholesale inflation data that releases tomorrow morning. The producer price index is expected to show a 0.2% increase for July, with an annual rate of wholesale inflation of 2.3%. Core producer prices are expected to show a 2.5% annual increase.
That is Stifel, Director of Investments, Eric Robert. Thank you. That's the Wall Street Wrap on KMOX.
Temperatures in the 80s for evening, plans, partly cloudy skies. There's been a couple of spot little thunder showers here and there. They fade with the setting sun. 68 for the overnight low. Thursday, partly sunny. For the middle of August, it's not too bad. 89 for the high, kind of moderate temperatures, moderate humidity. Thursday night, clear skies, 71. Friday, sunny, back to hot and humid. Friday afternoon, 95. And it's a steamer of a weekend coming up. I'm meteorologist Dave Murray on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
For the moment, though, we've got 86 degrees downtown at the Arch. It's a sunny sky. Feels like it's 91. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, there's a lot of slow going out there this afternoon. Southbound 270, in fact, they just called out EMS for a crash south of Olive. We had 2 crashes earlier between there and Ladue. They cleared it, but now this is a new one, apparently. It's delayed south of Page. Down through that Ladue area, both ways between Manchester and Ladue are heavy. The southbound side, though, extends all the way down to Gravois. Southbound 170 Delmar to 64 is heavy. Westbound 64 jam Boyle out to Clayton Skinker, but it's slow all the way to 270. In fact, a little jam Clayton Morrison to Lindbergh. It's jammed again west of Timberlake to Boone's Crossing. Slow all the way to the bridge. And again, 364 out to 70. 364 from 94 Mugi all the way to Mid Rivers and Bryan Road out to 64. You've got heavy traffic. Westbound Highway 70 backs up O'Fallon Park all the way out through Jennings Station. It's slow at the airport. 270 to the Blanchette Bridge, TR Hughes to K, and Lake St. Louis out through 61. Again, just a lot of volume like everywhere. 44 Grand out through Kings Highway. Jameson out to about Elm. Southbound 55 backs up from Gravois down to Bates. And then it's slow approaching Highway Z to McNutt. It's getting better in Jeffco. 44 both ways between the bridges has delays. Eastbound 64 from the ballpark over to 70s bumper to bumper, and then from 157 to 159. Next update at 520 from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
News, traffic, and the latest on the Redbirds. This is the Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX.
All right, now we're into the real Redbird Rush Hour, the 5 o'clock hour. We had a little pregame because obviously we had a little extra time, so that was good to get things warmed up. It also gave Matt Pauley a chance to get back to the KMOX studios from the ballpark because he's got Sports Open Line coming up from 6 until 8 o'clock tonight as well. So tons more Cardinals conversation. I was just texting with you, Matt, during the break. Like, we're getting a lot of reaction. I think there are a lot of great conversations to be had. I think we're just going to keep rolling with that until we run out.
Yeah,
I don't know that we can run out because the number that we're getting is going to be hard to get through unless there are a lot of them are repeating as we go through.
Yeah, and look, I don't understand on this one. Like, there are times when people are critical of Oliver Marmol, and I disagree with it, but I understand it. And there's times when people are critical of Oliver Marmol, and I disagree with it, and I agree with it, or I understand it and agree with it. Like, I don't understand or agree how this one falls on him today. The bullpen roles have clearly been set in the bullpen since the trade deadline, and these guys have performed. JoJo Romero's been awesome. Riley O'Brien's been awesome. Kyle Leahy's been awesome. Like, these guys have done their jobs, and it didn't work today. Romero, who's been really good, had a bad night. Every single pitcher who's ever played Major League Baseball has had a bad night at some point. So this is one of those where it's a little bit confusing for me because people are taking shots at Ollie over the way this game went down, and I don't understand it. This is one where I really don't understand where people are coming from.
Well, I mean, I do, and I'll get into this here, and I'm going to use a comment to get into this. George Kellerman sent us a message through YouTube, said, really tired of you guys pretending that you criticize Marmol. You don't. It's because you have him on your show. Well, I've never had him on my show. I've talked to him a few times on the air when I'm filling in for Tom on sports on a Sunday morning. I do not work on the Gas House Gang. And on this show, Redbird Rush Hour, the one you're listening to right now, I go after him all the time, sometimes to Matt's annoyance.
Yes.
because again, I'll repeat a few of the things because this, George, number one, this just proves you don't listen enough. So listen every day and you'll hear what you want to hear, because I'm telling you every day when there's something to criticize, I'm there for you. I've been ripping on the manager for playing Nolan Arenado every day for the whole season, for not prioritizing getting Nolan Gorman in the lineup, for overemphasizing defense when your team is not able to score runs. Man, we've been talking about these things all year, for not getting days off for guys that need them, like Brendan Donovan, like Mason Wynn. I mean, we've been talking about this all year, for not going with an opener in front of struggling starting pitchers, for not taking a struggling pitcher and putting him in the bullpen.
Just 2 days ago, not having Walker in the lineup.
How many more things do I need to bring up, George? These are things I've been talking about for 4 months. But see, this is the problem, is if it's not a screaming match, and this is where your question, Matt, I don't know where it's coming from. I know where it's coming from. We got a bunch of people who are emotional, and you act like children. You want the simplest solution to be true, and the simplest solution is we'd be better if we get rid of one guy. And what I'm telling you is it's not even close to that simple. You can get rid of that one guy. Your team's not close. It won't matter. And by the way, Chaim Bloom might want to make a change. We may find out. We have no idea what the new front office thinks. So we will eventually know that. But I want you guys that are like, oh, fire the manager. All right, tell me this. How many times did Tony La Russa win when his team wasn't good enough to win? And how many times did he not win the World Series when he had a World Series caliber team during his whole Hall of Fame career? Let me ask you this. How many times did Whitey Herzog win? And I mean win the division, go in the playoffs, when his team wasn't good enough? There is no example of that. There is no example of managers so great that no matter what the team's talent level is, you're going to be good enough. Talent is first. Now, can there be examples where talent is good enough and you're not having the results?
Yeah.
Yeah, here you go. Patrick brings it up. Why do the Blues fire head coaches? The Blues fire head coaches when they have the roster that they think is good enough and it's not achieving. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, and in hockey, sometimes you fire the coach because you're capped out and everybody else is capped out and you can't change the roster, so there's only one thing to change.
And it does happen.
If you think this team is underachieving, you don't understand how to evaluate players.
Yeah, and look, it does happen in baseball. When the year the Nationals won the World Series, they
Absolutely.
made the change.
Yeah.
They needed
Phillies
a change.
when they went to Rob Thompson.
Yeah, so exactly. And I guess the Nationals didn't make a world. Did they make a change the year they won the World Series? Did they make a new season change?
It was either that or the year before.
No, okay,
Davey Martinez. Yeah,
but the Phillies is the one I think I was probably trying to mention when that went through my mind. Anyways, there are situations where a team is clearly underachieving. To your point, and let me just repeat basically what you just said. If you think this team is underachieving based off talent, I don't know what you're looking at. The talent gap between the Cardinals. Now, are they a more talented team than the Rockies? Yes,
100%.
they are. And that's what makes this a very, very frustrating thing. And you talked earlier, Kevin, about being emotional. I think it's fine if fans want to be emotional, but be emotional and also be reasonable at the same time. You can be those two things at the same time. There's nothing wrong with being emotional. There's nothing wrong with being fired up by the fact that this team just lost a series that they had no business losing. But let's be reasonable about the reasons that they did lose the series, and be reasonable about, if you want to find the responsible parties, who those responsible parties are.
And this is the thing. If you don't think that Ollie is going to win a World Series with this team, that's fine. I'm not arguing that. Has nothing to do with what I'm arguing. My official position on the current manager is I don't know how good he is. I don't. I like some things he does. I don't like other things that he does, but I know that the team's record is what it is because of who the players are.
Yeah.
Because you've got Miles Michaelis starting every fifth day, and you had Eric Fetty starting every fifth day for 4 months. And because Andre Palante is still not an established, consistent major league starter, because your lineup isn't good and you don't have any power, and you've got too many of the same guys who play the same positions. So yeah, okay, if we had a lot of those other things answered and then it was underachieving, then we can talk about the manager. I think that's a fair thing. So using the example, when the Cardinals did make a change, when they got rid of Mike Matheny, they got rid of Mike Matheny because they looked at their roster and they said, our team's better than this. And I think a lot of us agreed with it. And when Mike Schilt took over, guess what happened? It got better because they actually had a good enough team. And you saw that in the subsequent years. And I think, with this manager, he's been in a position where the team's just not very good. And I see the same criticisms that everybody else does. I share a lot of those criticisms. But at the same time, I can't get past the fact that the roster is just not good enough. Fix that first, then we can talk about whether or not the manager's doing a good job.
I think he's been completely handcuffed. I think he's been handcuffed by the way the roster is set up. I think he's been handcuffed by the fact that you've had to stick with some guys longer than he probably would have liked to. If we go back to the eventually moving on from Eric Fetty, every single time we asked him about Michael McGreevy, his words were always, man, I love having Michael McGreevy on this team. I believe he wanted McGreevy on the team, and that just wasn't going to happen. I think there's still a lack of clarity on some of the decisions that are being made by him and some of the decisions that are being made above him. I'd love for him to be let loose a little bit. And I'm hopeful that he is the manager of the Cardinals next year. I think people know that I'm a fan of Oliver Marmol. I hope that he is the manager of the team next year. And I hope that Bloom gives him a better roster and Bloom takes the handcuffs off.
Yeah. I don't know why listening is difficult, but Patrick, nobody's making excuses. Patrick says, why are you making excuses? Jesus, we get it. You guys like him, but take a breath and stop defending. We're not defending everything. Listen, I just listed 8 things that I've been on the manager about for 4 months. I literally just listed them. And I do this every day. So you guys need to listen more often. If you're not listening to this show, don't assume you know what we're saying. But secondly, there's a difference between saying we don't know this guy's ability, but we do know the roster ain't good enough. You know how we know it's not good enough? Look at their numbers. As I pointed out, this team is one of the worst power hitting teams in baseball. Guess what wins in modern times? Power. You got a pitching staff that doesn't strike anybody out. And what wins in baseball right now, especially in the postseason? Strikeouts. So pardon me if I think that the manager might be the 5th or 6th most important thing that needs to be fixed. I think you need better starting pitching. You need a better star in the middle of that lineup. You need a better roster that fits together instead of having all the same guys. And they got to stop having their little man crushes on the players that come up through their system. I'm sorry. They've not been good enough. So yeah, sorry. I guess that's not enough. I'll try to reevaluate all of that during the next break. We got a lot more to do, by the way, a lot more messages and different topics. Don't worry. We're not going to keep hammering this one as we go through the Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson. Paid for by Action Matters. Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textingterms.us. Texting enrolls you for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop to opt out.
Attention parents of children who have used the gaming platform known as Roblox. If your child was a victim of sexual abuse or harm of any kind while using the Roblox platform, you may be entitled to compensation. Roblox is facing multiple high-profile lawsuits, including an ongoing class action, alleging it failed to protect users from foreseeable dangers that led to the grooming, exploitation, and sexual abuse of minors on the platform. Claims allege Roblox turned a blind eye to predators, unsafe games, and deceptive monetization practices that targeted children. Victims were contacted through in-game chats and coerced into private conversations on third-party apps. If you believe your child may have been a victim of grooming, sexual abuse, or harm of any kind while using the Roblox platform, you may be entitled to a cash settlement. Text our helpline now to find out if you have a viable compensation claim against Roblox. Text GONE to 32 32 32. That's GONE to 32 32 32. GONE to 32 32 32.
Dive into adventure this summer at the St. Louis Aquarium's Summer of the Shark. Get face to fin with some of the ocean's most awe-inspiring creatures in shark-themed exhibits, jaw-dropping displays, and interactive experiences for the whole family. Whether you're a fin-tastic fan or just curious, there's hands-on fun and fascinating facts around every corner at the St. Louis Aquarium. Don't miss your chance to make a splash. Plan your visit today at stlouisunionstation.com. That's stlouisunionstation.com.
Home title theft. It's on the rise, and it's devastating if it happens to you. Listen to the alarming words of an actual home title thief.
I don't need to know your date of birth and social security number. All I have to do is go to public records, create a document, and file that document. And then I can borrow against the house or sell the house. You may have no clue until you find out that your house has been sold or till several loans or several banks are foreclosing on you.
For pennies a day, Home Title Lock puts a virtual barrier of protection around your home's title with 24/7 monitoring. The instant they detect any tampering, you'll get an alert, and that's bad news for home title thieves. So when's the last time you checked on the title to your home? Find out if you're already a victim with your free title scan and complete title report. $100 value free with sign up. Just go to HomeTitleLock.com and sign up in minutes. That's HomeTitleLock.com. HomeTitleLock.com.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at LanceDruryLaw.com.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, this traffic reports the service of the Sandberg Phoenix Law Firm. Lots of slow going out there in North County, eastbound 270, Bell Fountain across the Chain of Rocks, westbound 70 from O'Fallon Park, all the way out to about Lucas Hunt from 170 to Lindbergh, 270 all the way out to about Zumbel. There's pockets of it. Pockets again from 79 all the way to 61. 364 from 94 Muki to Mid Rivers is slow. South 270 bogs down at Page. Both directions between Doherty Ferry and Ladue are heavy. Southbound, though, extends down to Gravois. Northbound Dorset up to 70 is heavy in the right lanes. Both directions of 170 between Delmar 64 are busy. Westbound 64 jams from Boyle out to Kings Highway, and it's slow from 170 all the way to 270 backed up. Clarkson to Boone's Crossing, slow to the bridge. There's a slowdown from K to Winghaven and 364 to 70. Westbound 44 from Kings Highway out past Elm is slow. Southbound 55 jam south of Arsenal to Bates. South of M down through Z is heavy. Eastbound 64 is slow at Jefferson. It jams on the Poplar Street Bridge over to 70, and eastbound 64 is on the brakes most of the way from 157 to 159. I'm Roger Brand at the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
At Sandberg Phoenix, we're more than just a law firm. Our attorneys are committed to you, your business, and your community. We are ready to serve you in the areas of business litigation, intellectual property, health law, and products liability. SandbergPhoenix.com. The choice of lawyers an important decision and should not be based solely on advertising.
This is the Redbird Rush Hour on 104.1 KMOX.
All right, Redbird Rush Hour, Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler here, and the plan is we're just taking your messages, man. There's so many of them. I don't think we're going to get through them all in the hour. We're going to try, and I am going to try to pick different topics because obviously we've kind of beaten that one up. But again, I just, when guys like George are like, they can't criticize him the way they skewer Mo because they have to face him every week. They don't, because I don't. I'm not on the Gas House Gang. And B, if you listen to this show, George, highly recommend, by the way, you'd know that I do. So stop puffing your chest out like you're some Tommy Tough guy. There's nothing that I hold back on. I didn't hold back when I was criticizing Tony La Russa or Mike Matheny or Mike Schilt, and that included when I was doing pre- and post-game shows. And guess what? None of those people ever said a word to me. Not one. You know why? Because they get it. They understand. It's part of the game. That's what happens. No big deal.
Ollie likes it when people challenge him.
Yeah.
He likes it when...
So did Tony. They don't care.
Yeah.
Like you guys have this feeling like they call us and tell us to. They don't care.
Yeah.
They're secure, grown professionals. It's like you would care if some high school kid criticized you in your job. You'd be like, I don't care what that kid thinks. It's not. We're okay. We're free to say what we want. You don't have to agree with it, but don't try to pump yourself up like, I would never do that, because you're just being emotional. This is an interesting one from Patrick. I yelled at you earlier, Patrick. I'm not going to yell now. But he said, did Dave Duncan ever say, man, these pitchers aren't talented? Yes. Yes. And you know what they did? They went upstairs to Walt Jocketty or Mo and said, get this guy out of here.
Yeah, and they were gone.
Dave Duncan didn't fix every guy that came through. Are you kidding me? Come on, dude.
Yeah,
I didn't mean to. It's not really yelling. It's like, do you remember it? Were you around? Because you know what those guys would do? And this is different, right? I know this is a point of frustration for a lot of fans, is that managers and coaching staffs do not have the same power of voice that they used to. If Tony wanted someone gone, they were gone. Right? If Tony wanted someone up, they were up. That dynamic doesn't exist in baseball. Bruce Bochy is the most accomplished manager that is in the game right now. He does not have that sway. You can argue with whether or not you like that. But yeah, Yeah, Tony and Dunk, they had pitchers. They said, yep, this guy's not good enough. And they said, get him out of here. And I was in on some of the conversations where that was not in on it, but like there in the office when those things were being discussed a couple of times. Like, yeah, they did. They did say, yep, that guy's not good enough. He won't listen, or we can't fix it, or he's hurt, or whatever. It happened. I don't know why we take the past and make it seem like everything was perfect and all that. It's just not, that's not how it is.
People forget. I still get messages every once in a while from people who are being serious saying, hey, maybe they could give Adam Wainwright a call and maybe he could come back and, finish out the year to help stabilize the pitching. Like, do you remember what it looked like a year plus ago when Wainwright was finishing his career? Like, we need to remember the past and not just glorify everything that has happened. Every single era of Cardinals baseball has had good things, have had some not so good things. The game changes in some ways. In some ways it doesn't change. But it's good to have a good understanding of what came before.
Yeah, I mean, and remember it, like in detail, not just the highlights, right? Like what and I know people get mad at me for this too, but like people don't remember that the entire time of Whitey Ball, that wasn't all successful. They had some bad years, but nobody remembers it because of a World Series win and because they were entertaining as hell. And that's another thing the team's got to fix. They need to be more entertaining. That's, I think that's a great lesson to learn from Whitey Ball is being entertaining matters in addition to winning. Winning matters first, but then other things matter on top of that as well. Nick makes a great point here, I think. He says, I think the most frustrating thing is wasting 3 years investing in the wrong players. This thing could have been fixed this year if they weren't committed to guys 3 years ago. Yeah, could not agree more. Wouldn't you agree, Matt, that that's, when you made the commitment too early to Miles Michaelis, as an example, I know I beat up on Miles a lot, but I mean, they gave him an extension a full year before they needed to. Mm-hmm. And I guarantee you, if they had waited until the end of his last year of his contract, they wouldn't have given him that extension.
No, they were running scared.
That's an example. Yeah.
That was a move made in fear because they were looking 6 months ahead or 8 months ahead because it was spring training to, hey, what was it? It was 1 or 2 guys that were going to be in the rotation locked in for the next year. So instead of being forced to sign 3 or 4 guys or acquire 3 or 4 guys, it was going to be 2 or 3 guys by getting Michaelis locked in. But if they would have just sat back and not made that move, then either he comes back at a lesser number or he doesn't come back at all. And you go do something else. And I also think this is about right now I'm not trying to take shots at the Lars Nootbaars and the Brendan Donovans of the world. Like, I think the world of Brendan Donovan, and I think he's a really, really good player to have on your team. But as that group was establishing themselves, they kind of went all in on those guys being the guys who were going to be able to lead them to a high level of winning, and those are going to be your top of the guys roster. And if they're going to be at the top of your roster and for you to be competitive, well, then you have to, those guys would have to be better. Like there is a gap at the talent, a talent gap because of those guys.
And I think another real fair criticism is the way that they've run guys like Jordan Walker and Nolan Gorman, not being able to help fix problems while the guys are still in A ball or AA, and then promoting them to the big leagues with these flaws. And that's why you see what you see. So yeah, plenty to criticize. We'll keep up with that. And we're going to try to keep up with your messages, man. They keep rolling in. We'll try to squeeze in all of them as we go before we get up to 6 o'clock here in the Redbird Rush Hour.
Straight Realty has always been an industry leader when it comes to commissions. So it should come as no surprise that the recent Realtor settlement has only empowered us to continue offering our sellers even better rates. We now list homes for only 2%. Hi, I'm Christina Straight, owner of Straight Realty. Call me 314-441-4444. Why pay more than 2? You can also listen to my podcast on my website, straightrealty.com.
Commissions are not regulated and are negotiable. Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
This segment, Cancer Center Spotlight, how innovative immunotherapy is showing promise against aggressive T-cell cancers. Dr. John DePercio.
Patients have come here from all over the United States and, in fact, all over the world to get evaluated and treated for this treatment. We hope that this can be continued, that we demonstrate in a clinical trial that it's safe and effective, and that ultimately it will be approved by the FDA so it's available to everyone in the world.
For more information, visit siteman.wustl.edu.
How many of you think taxes are going to go up in the future? And if they do, who will be hit the hardest?
Maybe it's you, headed for retirement. You've been saving in that 401k or IRA, and that money has never been taxed. And Uncle Sam is looking at that account like it's a big, juicy steak. What can you do about it? Join the All Financial Group for their Taxes in Retirement Seminar, Tuesday, August 26th or Thursday, August 28th at Fleming's. They believe a financial plan is not a retirement plan without a tax plan. Fund your retirement, not Uncle Sam's. Reserve your spot today by calling 636-230-8824. That's 636-230-8824 or online at yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Neither the firm nor its agents or representatives may give tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with a qualified professional for guidance before making any purchasing decisions.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. So as you know, I'm a lawyer, haven't practiced in a long time, but I did plaintiff's work and defense work, so I have a pretty good understanding of it. I have a pretty good idea of who's who in the firmament of plaintiffs' attorneys. And for my money, Mark Cantor is the guy. He's a great attorney. He is a great practitioner. He's put together a great team. He was born and raised here. He lives here. He works here. He wins here. Call 314-628-ALL-9s or CantorInjuryLaw.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based on advertising.
Protect your liver and give it the support it deserves by making Active Liver from New Nordic part of your daily wellness routine. Find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS, Meijer Grocery, or online at Amazon or at newnordicusa.com.
At 5:30, the news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet. We've got a sunny sky. It is 86 degrees downtown at the Arch. The Missouri Department of Health and Senior Services confirms a case of an extremely rare brain infection has been identified in the state. KMOX Health Editor Fred Bottomer has that story.
State epidemiologist Nathan Kofarnis says the confirmed case is in an adult Missouri resident who was water skiing at the Lake of the Ozarks and is now in an intensive care unit at a local hospital.
Unfortunately, it's a very serious illness, thankfully a very rare illness, but it is historically fatal in about 97% of cases. So not common, but extremely serious when somebody does get it.
It's called Naegleria fowleri, a microscopic single-celled free-living amoeba that's found in warm, fresh water such as lakes, rivers, and ponds. Best prevention tips include hold your nose shut, use nose clips, or keep your head above water, especially if you jump or dive into warm, fresh water. But again, Kofarnis says this is extremely rare, but the state wants everyone to be aware it's out there during the summer months. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
A massive data center planned for St. Charles is concerning residents and also St. Charles County Executive Steve Ellman. He tells Chris and Amy it's a city, not a county issue, though.
We didn't know much more than anybody else until about 3 weeks ago, and we were briefed by the city along with the members of a legislative delegation, and my whole staff was down there. And
half his staff liked the idea, the other half did not. One big concern is the massive amount of water that'd be needed to cool the servers in a city that has struggled with its water supply. Ellman thinks everybody should slow down and hear both sides, known only as Project Cumulus. There's an open house tomorrow night from 5 to 7 at the Foundry Art Center. GE Appliances is making a major move to expand manufacturing in the U.S. CEO Kevin Nolan told a crowd in Louisville, Kentucky, where the company is based.
This is what Built for America, this is what it looks like. Bigger American investments, more American jobs, a future right here.
CBS's Stacey Lynn.
The company's investing more than $3 billion to expand its U.S. operations and plans to shift production of refrigerators, gas ranges, and water heaters out of China and Mexico. The investment is the second largest in the company's history and is expected to add more than 1,000 jobs.
The plan includes upgrades to plants in Kentucky, Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, and South Carolina. The Trump administration is considering changing the federal status of marijuana. It's a Schedule I drug, the same classification as heroin and LSD. Trump says a preliminary decision lowering that designation could come soon. CBS News Homeland Security correspondent Nicole Skanga tells us this could lead to a nationwide legalization of the drug.
It's a big shift. A Trump administration marijuana reclassification, while it wouldn't legalize the drug, it could spur a wave of change, especially in those red state holdouts where marijuana remains strictly illegal.
Dave Murray says tonight, partly cloudy, low 68 degrees. For Thursday, sunshine, nice day for this time of year with a high of 89. And going into the weekend, 95 for Friday, hot and humid. Right now, it's 86 downtown. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Paul's new drone startup just lost its most genius computer scientist.
We just lost our best genius to some new genius who's got a genius new idea. I'm going to have to find a new genius or two half geniuses and fast.
He needs a computer scientist that can keep his startup from falling down.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
You've got a ton of equity in your home. You're sitting on a gold mine, and you could do so much with all that cash, like travel, invest it, or pay off debt, but you can't touch it unless you sell your home. But you really don't want to move. And besides, homes are sitting on the market for a long time these days. You're trapped, right? Well, not with TrueHold. With TrueHold, you can cash out your equity in as little as 30 days. And listen, you don't have to move. You can stay in the home you love as a renter. So that's TrueHold's Sell and Stay program. You cash out your entire home's value and stay put. TrueHold even covers property taxes, property insurance, and essential repairs. So imagine using that equity to travel, invest, or pay off debt and stay in your home. It's brilliant, especially in this slow market. You get an all-cash offer now by calling 1-855-300-9993. You can also visit TrueHold.com, the smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without moving. That's TrueHold.com.
Now that I'm a dad, I can't stop thinking about what would happen to my kids if something happened to me, like losing the house or not affording college.
Yeah, that used to keep me up at night too. It's why I finally got life insurance from Ethos. It's 100% online. No medical exams, just a few health questions. I got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day.
I never realized it was that simple. Get your free quote at ethos.com/life. That's ethos.com/life.
Rates may vary. Bill monthly. Sample rate 10-year term life policy for a 35-year-old healthy non-smoking male.
Gain a global perspective and specialized skills that many of today's top employers are seeking with an MBA from University of Maryland Global Campus. Study online and complete your degree in just 16 months for about $21K. Choose from MBA specializations in global business, marketing, HR, finance, and more. No application fee if you apply by September 3rd. Learn more at umgc.edu. That's umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Summer is here. Time to enjoy baseball, barbecues, and the shade of your trees. When it comes to tree care, call the certified arborist at Gamma Tree Experts. Hi, I'm Tim Gamma. Protect your valuable trees from storm damage or devastating insects such as the emerald ash borer. Knowledge and quality are hallmarks of our reputation. For pruning, spraying, fertilization, or removals, call Gamma Tree Experts today at 314-725-6159 or visit us at gammatree.com. Your trees deserve the best care.
You're listening to the Redbird Rush Hour on 1041 KMOX.
All right, time for the Game Day Men's Health Peak Performer. Get back to the top of your game with Game Day Men's Health. You can go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Easy one today. Alec Burleson, couple of hits, including the home run. Had a really nice day today. He's been slumping a little bit lately, so nice to see him kind of get off the schneid and hit the home run against a lefty. Even if it is a lefty that tends to give up some home runs.
Did you know, Kevin Wheeler, that of his 15 home runs, 8 of them have come with 2 strikes?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
That's really good.
Well, and that fits the characteristics of the player in the sense that he's not a big swing and miss guy. So, he's taking advantage of just kind of taking his normal good approach. He also doesn't strike out a lot. So, when you're putting the ball in play, you'll have some more of those opportunities. But yeah, good job by him. Give him credit. That's a guy that's battling deep into counts, and a guy like that.
It was good to see Newpar have the 2-for-4 day with the home run.
Yeah,
as well.
I mean, some of these guys got to get going, man. As I pointed out before you joined in, Matt, it's been one of the 4 or 5 worst offenses in baseball since June 1st. No power, not enough on base percentage. And power. I don't just mean homers, just slug.
Yeah.
Doubles, triples, homers. So yeah, they could definitely use some of that. Real quick message here before we get to a quick traffic update, and then we got another one. Matt, you've picked one out that you want to make sure we highlight. I think this one's interesting. DS Bill says, would you guys agree that there are 3 better managers in the Central than Ollie? Yeah, I would absolutely agree with that for a couple of reasons. Some of it's track record, right? I mean, would you have said in year 3 of Terry Francona that he was what he is now?
No.
I would say no, but again, yeah, he's got track record, so clearly got a big advantage in my book. Craig Counsell has been viewed as one of the best managers in baseball, and rightfully so. And obviously Milwaukee and Murph, he's doing a great job. Kind of hard to argue with that. So I would agree with that, but I think
I really like Pat Murphy. I really like Pat Murphy. So I'm being pushed. Kevin, you've pushed me into a corner here.
Oh, no.
Because I don't want to say something bad about Pat Murphy. But look, a lot of this Brewers success is just it's part of the system.
It's a great team.
Yeah, that they've created there. Like Craig Counsell walks out the door.
Yeah.
Pat Murphy walks in. Murphy has a long-time baseball tenure going back to being a college coach.
Yeah.
Notre Dame and Arizona State. And he was a minor league manager for a while, interim manager with the Padres. So he's got experience, but I think as much as Murphy's responsible, it's also just part of the machine that is the Milwaukee Brewers.
Totally agree, but he's getting results, so I'm going to give him the credit.
Yeah.
Just like, I would give the credit to Ollie if they were winning 95 games a year, whether it's all him or not. But I think what's interesting here is that Craig Counsell kind of proves the point that we're making about talent coming first, right? He goes from Milwaukee, where you're winning the division every year. They've been the best team in the division now for a number of years. In his first year in Chicago as the highest paid manager in baseball, because he's viewed as one of the top guys. Why was he 83 and 79?
They weren't good enough talent-wise.
Because the roster wasn't good enough, right? I mean, that's the point. So I thought that was a really interesting question. I would agree with that completely, that those three are better than Ollie, and part of it's just Ollie hadn't had enough time to show us yet whether he's good or not. I'm not sold. I just want the roster to be good enough first, because if the roster is not good enough, I don't care who the manager is. I think that's kind of the simplest way to sum up what I'm thinking. All right, let's get a check of traffic. And obviously, we'll see how things are going on the roadways. And right after that, we'll get right back to your messages here on the Redbird Rush Hour.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, this traffic reports the service of McKelvey Homes. We still have slow traffic on westbound 70 from about Kings Highway to Jennings Station, from 170 to Lindbergh, 270 to the Blanchette Bridge, 94 to Zumbel. A little busy at K, and then approaching A to Z in Wentzville. 364, 94 Mugie through Mid Rivers. There's a couple of slow spots. Southbound 270, busy. Olive down to Ladue. Both ways, Ladue to Manchester is crowded, and then it's still heavy southbound down through 44. Southbound 170, Parkway down to 64 is heavy. Westbound 64 jammed. Kings Highway to Clayton Skinker, a little slow between McKnight and Lindbergh. It's still bogged down west of Timberlake all the way to the Boone Bridge, 94 to K, and Lake St. Louis Boulevard out to 70 after that. If you're on westbound 44, better, but still Jameson to Elm is pretty heavy. Southbound 55, Arsenal through Bates is slow. North of Z to McNutt. Eastbound 64 from the Poplar over to 70, and then from 157 backed up all the way to 159. And southbound 141, Helfrich down to 44 is jammed, and then south of Gravoy Bluffs down to Romian Creek backed up because of an accident. Next update at 5:50 from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by McKelvey Homes.
Hi, I'm Jim Brennan at McKelvey Homes. Have you always wished for a brand new home in an established neighborhood? Select one of our move-in ready custom homes throughout St. Louis, or we will build on your lot. Visit McKelveyHomes.com and move up to McKelvey.
All right, so we're picking back up. I know you've got a message you've got picked out, Matt. I wanted to give Jeffrey credit. Jeffrey Selzak gave us a message on YouTube, said Joe Torre was horrible here because his teams had no talent.
Yeah, so I heard somebody said this.
He was pretty good in New York, wasn't he?
Somebody said this the other day. Joe Torre's not a Hall of Famer if the Cardinals don't fire him.
Yeah, I mean, maybe not. It's just funny. And then Patrick's Ollie has had Hall of Famers, All-Stars, the best closer in the league for 2 years. Read that, Kevin. You said we don't listen. Do you read, McFly? I do. Hall of Famers at the end of their careers. Nolan Arenado is 3 years removed from being an all-star caliber hitter. I mean, Helsley's great. You got to have leads to get to the ninth inning to win those games, and you don't have enough starting pitching. Yeah, Sonny Gray's an all-star. I mean, that again, but compare that to the other teams out there. Yeah. Go compare the Cardinals rotation to Milwaukee's rotation. Milwaukee's got a guy in AAA named Chad Patrick who made 15 major league starts this year with a 3.50 ERA, and they don't have room for him. And then tell me that it's not the team's talent and it's the guy calling the shots.
Essentially, Jose Quintana is the Brewers' fifth starter.
And he would be the Cardinals' number 2 or 3.
Yeah, number 1 or number 2.
I mean, his numbers this year are more like Sonny's.
Yeah. He's not number 3. He's number 1
right,
or number 2. Yeah.
You guys don't misunderstand it. I'm definitely not saying Ali for life. I'm just saying you got to fix the roster before you can determine this. And maybe Chaim Bloom's got a different guy in mind. We don't know. We'll find out in a couple of months.
I'm not trying to beat up on Sam here. He's a really good commenter to the show. But he says, I'm frustrated that the Cardinals, when they went down 6-5 today, they went 1-2-3 in the bottom of the ninth, and they didn't even fight back. And I take issue with that one. Thomas Saggese hit the living you-know-what out of the ball. Would have been a home run in 16 ballparks. He missed a home run by just barely. And then after that, Pedro Pages came up to the plate, and we could have had a very long conversation about if Pages should have even been batting in that spot when you had Joel Pozo available. But Pages comes up to the plate, and it took a fantastic play in center field by Moniak to come in. That's a ball that was dropping. And then all of a sudden he gets in there. So the Cardinals were in like a few inches away from it being a tie game and a runner on at first and nobody out. So I don't think that's totally fair from Sam when the way you characterized how things went down in the ninth today.
Yeah, sometimes I think we do that a lot, and I say we, I'm including me and guys like me, people who cover teams, or obviously I'm a fan too, where sometimes the bad result makes it look like guys aren't trying, or like the team looks dead. Well, yeah, they look dead because they're not hitting. When you don't hit, there's nothing happening, and it looks dead. I know people get tired of hearing the stuff that I say, but I mean, I've been around. I mean, this Matt. How about this? In December of this year will be my 30th year in sports radio.
Okay.
This is now my 19th year this month in St. Louis. And in all of that time, I've covered, I don't even know how many hundreds of games, Hall of Fame managers, Hall of Fame level coaches, front office people, not just in St. Louis either. I mean, I've covered the sport on the national level too, worked for MLB Network Radio. I've never heard anybody say that it's not talent first.
It is.
Never.
And
never.
Now the thing is, you go get a matchup of two really talented teams, then some of the other stuff is where you start separating yourself out from the other. But the first thing has to be talent.
Yeah, and it's also the hardest thing, which makes it frustrating, right? It takes a super long time, and it's that's what's frustrating. But here's the other thing that's really fascinating to me, and then we'll throw a couple more messages in here because they're still coming in. And sorry, guys, I know a lot of you guys are trying to go back and forth. I'm going to try to get some people that we haven't gotten to yet either. I'm not trying to be a jerk. If you want to email me, kevin.wheeler@odyssey.com. You can hit me on Twitter. I don't care. Just don't yell at me and Matt about something that anybody else said or some dude on Twitter. Like, when's Bernie going to, don't ask me, ask Bernie. And don't ask Bernie about me. Just don't do that.
Bernie's going to be on Sports Open Line at 6:20.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
So you could throw him a message on Twitter. Maybe it'll come up. But I think that, when you're looking at this current situation, and the frustration is the expectation level has been set differently for this team, for this organization, right? You had 25 years of constantly having star players, playoff caliber teams, 2 World Series champions, other teams that went in the playoffs. And now this team isn't that. But God, I mean, if this is the reset, if this is the rebuild, and hopefully it is, because if it gets worse, man, I don't know if I want to take messages. No, I'm teasing you guys. I'm teasing. It's not that hard. We're just playing. This is as bad as it's been for the Cardinals in a long time. And if 500 is as bad as it's been for a long time, and I don't mean individual seasons. I know 2023 was a crappy season. But the last 2, just the definition of mediocre. Then it's going to be okay if this is the bad. And hopefully Chaim Bloom can get that turned around. All right, we got another segment to go. And then, of course, Sports Open Line is coming up after the top of the hour news. Let me tell you about Game Day Men's Health. Check them out at GameDayMen'sHealth.com. I've been going with them for more than 5 months now. And at the beginning of all of that, I just felt my age, man. I'm 53. Your legs feel heavy sometimes. You don't recover great from workouts, and you're trying to push through. Well, I'm telling you don't have to push through. I'm telling you that there are solutions. For me, it was testosterone replacement therapy, right? The numbers were low. I didn't make it that way. It's just the way that it was when I went in for my consultation, did a blood test, and they said, here's how we can help you. And every day it helps. I feel better every day. I'm working out 5-6 times a week. I'm doing crazy things like driving to North Carolina and back in a 3-day window to help my kid move, and not having any physical repercussions from doing that. No soreness, no pain, no nothing. And again, they can help you too. You just, again, go to the website, GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Everything is overseen by board-certified physicians. Everybody is a pro. It's a cool, relaxed environment. You get one price quoted up front. Just don't wait anymore. Go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com and get back to the top of your game with Game Day Men's Health.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you've been injured in a car accident, call America's largest injury law firm. For over 35 years, my mission has been to deliver more for our clients, to deliver more for you. Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
We all have someone we love, like the favorite lyric in our favorite song. You can't imagine life without them. So tell them today, I love you. Get screened. It could help save their life. Visit cancer.org/getscreened to learn more.
That baby's gone!
Cardinals fans, FanDuel Sports Network is your home of the Cardinals.
That ball was mashed.
And there are more ways to watch this season.
Holy cow!
Subscribe directly to FanDuel Sports Network to stream the Cardinals without blackouts.
How about that play?
Or watch through a TV provider.
Incredible!
Including DirecTV, Spectrum, Xfinity, Fubo, and more.
He got it!
Learn more at cardinals.com/TV.
Ball game! That couldn't have worked out any better for the Cardinals.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com traffic center.
Well, we still have slow traffic on westbound 70. Let's call it Riverview to Jennings Station from the airport out to the Rock Road's a little busy. Earth City to the Blanchette, 94 to Zumbel, and then just A to Z out in the Wentzville area. 364, Youngerman out through Gudermouth is still kind of busy. Not a jam, though. Westbound 64, that is jam. Kings Highway out to Clayton Skinker, it's slow. West of Lindbergh to Vallis. It's approaching Clarkson, backed up down into the valley. Once you get down into the floor of the valley, they'll slow to the Boone Bridge, slow past K. And after that, approaching Prospect, so it's getting better further west. Southbound 270, a little busy between Olive and Ladue down through Manchester. Northbound Manchester up to Ladue, still slow. Southbound 170 bogs down at Brentwood. Westbound 44, approaching River to Pear out to Elm is still pretty busy. Southbound 55, south of Arsenal, and then Z to McNutt a little slow. We've still got these jams on 141, well, primarily the one from south of Gravois Bluffs down to Romaine Creek where you have a crash. Eastbound 64 3rd Street over on the 5570 slow, and it's jammed 157 most of the way to 159. Next update at 5:59 from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com traffic center.
You're listening to the Redbird Rush Hour on 1041 KMOX.
All right, Redbird Rush Hour wrapping up in a few minutes, and then we got Sports Open Line for 2 hours following that. So you mentioned Bernie's coming on. What else you got going tonight?
Helps turn my mic on.
It does help, doesn't it?
Danny Vietti from CBS Sports is going to join us in the 7 o'clock hour. He's a good baseball guy. He's the co-host of the Wake and Rake podcast with Will Middlebrook. So we'll talk all things Major League Baseball with him. And we'll just kind of keep this conversation going. That's why we recently made the decision to combine the streams with Redbird Rush Hour and Sports Open Line. It's such
keep on rolling.
Even if it gets a little bit contentious with the people who are watching us, it's an opportunity to continue this conversation. So we'll do that after the 6 o'clock news.
And everybody on the stream, we can't keep going back to the same dudes. I'm not trying to be a jerk. If you want to follow up with me on anything, I put my email address on there. Go ahead. It's my work address. It's what it's there for feedback and back and forth. So I will answer you guys. If you want to say you're full of crap on a thing, go ahead. I will answer you. But
the deposed Prince of Somalia is going to get in there and ask you for
that's fine.
$1,000 to get you.
That's fine. Nobody's getting any money from me. I can tell you that. But what I find interesting is, I guess we had a couple of questions. I'm going to kind of conglomerate. You know how you do in a movie where you'll like take 3 real people and kind of put them into one character that kind of symbolizes all the things that were going on in that time period to simplify.
Like Moneyball, the second character is a combination of a bunch of people. Yeah.
Right. I'm going to kind of do that with the messages here. And that is, we got a lot of people that are kind of coming back to, well, nobody said it's not the players. And well, then focus on what matters the most. Okay. Going to the manager first is not going to be the answer in this case. In some cases, it would be. If you have an established roster with all-star level players who are proven players that are not injury prone, unproven, inconsistent, whatever you want to call it, like any of those things, well, then yeah, we can do that. When you've got other teams and other sports making changes, and in some cases, like look at Philly as an example when they changed to Rob Thompson. It was clearly an underachieving team that had a lot of talent. I just don't think that's what this team is. So, and if they make a change with the manager at the end of the year, it's not going to hurt me. It's fine. And if the manager sticks around, that's fine to me too. My grade on the manager is incomplete, but I really like the focus of conversations to be as much as possible on what matters most, because if you don't fix the pitching staff, if you don't get swing and miss, if you don't have higher quality at the front end of it, if you don't have enough power, if you've got too many of the same guys and everybody's struggling it's just not going to get any better, no matter who's calling the shots. And the proof of that, Matt, is just go look at every great manager in the history of the sport and how many times their teams weren't good. They didn't change.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't forget what they were doing. The teams weren't good enough. It's really not. It's just common sense.
And there are times where teams look good on paper, and for whatever reason, they just kind of don't work out that year.
And in that case, that could be the manager, right?
Be, but a lot of times the guy comes back the next year and they're good. It's just an off year. And I'm not saying this is not just an off year for the Cardinals. Please do not accuse me of saying that. But the point, I guess what I'm trying to say is there is a level of randomness that I think exists in baseball more so than other sports. That doesn't give you an excuse to not try to perform at the highest level, but it creates more of a challenge when trying to discern what's going on.
Yeah. And then finally on this, and this is, I think, at the root of why this comes up and why I go the way that I do. Patrick says you can't change the players right now or overnight. You can change the manager. Hello. Right. But if it doesn't matter, then what's the point?
Yeah.
That's kind of where I get into these conversations. This change, guys, is not going to happen overnight. Making the one change isn't going to make them what you want them to be. It's going to be longer. It's not happening next year, most likely. It's probably going to be 2027, 2028 before this team can even resemble what we want it to. But we'll keep talking about it, and we'll break it all down. Buddy, have fun on Sports Open Line tonight. Everybody, thanks. No matter what. Hey, guys, when we argue, it's cool, dude. It's just guys arguing sports. Still love y'all. Have a great night.
Fairwinds River's Edge is more than a place to live, it's a place to belong. Come see why we have been voted Best Independent Senior Living Community for 4 years in a row by U.S. News & World Report. We think you'll like it here, and the experts agree. Come see us for yourself. Call to schedule a tour and complimentary lunch, or to learn more about our upcoming charity golf tournament benefiting the VFW National Home. .com.
Don't miss the return of La Cage aux Folles, last seen at the Muni nearly 40 years ago. This show is Harvey Fierstein and Jeremy Herman's hilarious romp about complicated family dynamics. You are going to love it. I'll meet you at the Muni.
Muni in Forest Park. The hilarious musical that inspired the Birdcage returns to the Muni. Don't miss the fabulous La Cage aux Folles, August 8th through 14th, sponsored by the Steinberg Family Foundation. For tickets, visit muni.org.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want a boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Put it all together and you've got what you need to turn things all the way up. Getting started is simple. Just go to hims.com/joy to start your free online visit. Through Hims, you can access ED treatments, including pills, chews, and more, 100% online. No office visits, no pharmacy lines. Just fill out a simple intake form and a licensed medical provider will determine if treatment's right for you. If prescribed, it ships free and discreetly to your door. Find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy, HIMS.com/JOY.
Hi, I'm Andrew Suntrup. For over 30 years, St. Louis families have trusted Suntrup Ford Westport and Suntrup Ford Kirkwood as a proud, family-owned and operated dealership. We offer more than just great deals. We offer peace of mind. At Suntrup Ford, you'll find a huge selection of inventory to choose from, unmatched customer service, and our exclusive lifetime powertrain protection program. Visit in-store or online at suntrupford.com. Save more at Suntrup Ford. Visit SuntrapFord.com.
Calling all future sportscasters. Sharpen your skills and learn from the best of the Missouri Broadcasters Association Sportscasters Forum Tuesday, September 16th in St. Louis. Join Cardinals beat reporters, broadcasters, and the legendary John Rooney, the voice of the Cardinals, for insider sessions on play-by-play, interviewing, reporting, and more. Then cap the day with a Cards-Reds game at Busch Stadium. Open to college students and broadcasting pros. Just $10 for students, lunch, and a game ticket. Space is limited. Registered by September 2nd at MissouriBroadcasters.org.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, there's still heavy traffic around the area. Most of it's just slow, but northbound 170 north of the Natural Bridge up to 70, still busy. Westbound 70 a little slow from Cypress to Lindbergh, 270 to Earth City, and A to Z in the Wentzville area. 364 west of Mid-Rivers through Gudermouth, a little crowded. It's still jammed on westbound 64 from Kings Highway out to Clayton Skinker, slow to Big Bend, Spady Ballas area busy. Clarkson all the way to the Boone Bridge, slow, a little busy at K, and from Lake St. Louis Boulevard out to 70, still heavy. South 270, Clayton Road through Manchester, slow. Northbound approaching Clayton Road up to Ladue is off the pace. Westbound 44, Shrewsbury through Laclede Station, a bit of a backup. Southbound 55 around the bend, Arsenal to about Gasconade, and Z down to McNutt, still a little slow. Eastbound 55, 70, 64 to Exchange is heavy, and we're still backed up on eastbound 64, 157 to 159. Southbound 141, still jammed, Gravois, Bluster, Romaine Creek. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet.com Traffic Center.
The trusted voice of St. Louis. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Presidents Trump and Zelensky and European leaders talk.
We had a very good call.
Chattanooga, Tennessee flooding.
This was a deadly event.
Trump effort to keep National Guard in D.C. longer.
He's leaning on Republican support for that extension.
This is the CBS World News Roundup Late Edition. I'm Jennifer Kuiper. Ahead of his Alaska meeting Friday with Russia's Vladimir Putin, President Trump says of today's virtual call with Ukraine's president and European leaders.
President Zelensky was on the call. I would rate it a 10, very, very friendly.
Trump says if the Alaska summit goes well, he wants a meeting with Putin and Zelensky. But as CBS's Olivia Gazis reports,
there's a real concern among the European leaders that Vladimir Putin, former KGB operative, is a very savvy negotiator, is steeped in the details here, is invested in the outcome, and is in no particular hurry to arrive at either a ceasefire or a diplomatic deal, given that right now he does have a good amount of momentum on the battlefield.
Trump promises severe consequences on Russia if Putin doesn't agree to stop the war in Ukraine. A school bus crash in Leander, Texas, almost 30 miles north of Austin, sends multiple people to hospitals. Authorities say there were 42 children on the bus and one adult. One injury is life-threatening and two others are potentially life-threatening. Within a couple of hours last night, over 6 inches of rain fell in Chattanooga, Tennessee, causing deadly flooding. CBS's Matt Piper.
Officials in Chattanooga have recovered a fourth body following heavy rains and flooding Tuesday night. They believe the man took off running and mistakenly ran into a flooded creek. He joins a mother, father, and their child who were killed when a tree fell on the car they were in. Chattanooga Mayor Tim Kelly.
We want to make sure that folks stay safe throughout the coming days if there's any additional rainfall. I will say that was the second highest rainfall total in the city's history.
He says the flooding prompted more than 400 emergency calls from residents for help. Matt Piper, CBS News.
Juneau, Alaska faced record flooding today stemming from a basin dammed by the Mendenhall Glacier. It released an outburst flood, prompting some evacuations. Juneau Public Safety Manager Sabrina Grubitz.
As the water continues to recede, teams that will be preparing to go out into the field for preliminary damage assessments.
CBS News has learned that there will be a significant increase of National Guard presence in the nation's capital beginning tonight. CBS's Aaron Navarro.
The schedule will go to a 24/7 operation instead of just nighttime events and operations. President Trump also said he believes he can extend this effort beyond the 30 days that it is supposed to have on paper because he believes he can get Congress to grant that extension.
Stocks jumped on Wall Street. The Dow rose 464 points. Now this.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Get renter's insurance to protect the things that make your place a home, including coverage for theft or damage. Visit Progressive.com.
6:03, sunshine, right now 85 degrees downtown at the Arch. The American Federation of Teachers, Local 420, that's the union representing city schools teachers, is contemplating a no-confidence vote on St. Louis Public Schools Superintendent Millicent Borichetti.
This comes as Dr. Borichetti announced a potential plan to close 37 St. Louis public schools. That's something Local 420 spokesman Byron Clemens says isn't sitting well with the union. And Clemens adds there are also concerns about the audit revealing some practices from the old regime are being carried over to the new administration. That is one of several concerns leading to this no confidence vote.
There is a petition drive, but we're following the concerns of our union members. That's what we do. And as soon as they've taken any action, we will be public with it.
As to when the no confidence vote could come, that's still not been disclosed. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
Preliminary results on the latest end-of-year test scores show improvements in most subjects among Missouri's K-12 public school students.
Missouri students had the greatest gains in math, and science test scores closely followed. Fourth grade test scores declined in math and English, while fifth graders had lower math scores. Education Commissioner Carla Esslinger said there's more work to be done. The state test results show a 98% student participation rate for the 2024-25 school year. Elisa Nelson, Missouri Net.
The Missouri State Auditor's Office gave Francis Howell School District a poor rating at the end of last year in an audit. Now, State Auditor Scott Fitzpatrick tells 97.1 that his office will be investigating why the district is paying the contract for a superintendent that won't work a single day for the district.
It's a review of the previous findings, and then if there are any new issues that we know about, we add those to that review as well. But it's not done to auditing standards, so we won't issue a rating. We'll issue a report that basically looks at each finding and how they've done at implementing the recommendation.
Dr. Mike Dominguez, who resigned before his first day as superintendent, walked away with a payout of about $230,000. Just 4 days later, he was hired by a school district in Oklahoma. An adult Missouri resident who recently was water skiing at the Lake of the Ozarks is now in an intensive care unit at a local hospital with a confirmed case of a rare brain infection.
It's called Naegleria fowleri, a microscopic single-celled free-living amoeba that can cause a rare deadly infection of the brain. It's found in warm, fresh water, such as lakes, rivers, and ponds. State epidemiologist Nathan Kofornis.
You don't have to worry about drinking the water. Typically, less worried about, just swimming in the water, things like that, although it's possible. But typically, it involves getting a certain amount of water kind of forced up the sinuses, the nose and the sinuses, and if that water just happened to have one of these amoeba living in it, you could get this infection.
Prevention tips include holding your nose shut, using nose clips, or keeping your head above water, especially if you jump or dive into warm, fresh water. But again, Kofornis says this is extremely rare, but the state wants everyone to be aware it's out there during the summer months. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
St. Louis County officials are warning of RECA scams as applications for radioactive relief become available.
Daniel Spradley with St. Louis County's outreach team says residents are being contacted by people seeking payment to assist with RECA applications.
We've already seen cases where there are people saying that they are an attorney and they will fill out their applications for people. This was before the application was even out, trying to charge exorbitant fees.
Spradley says attorneys can help and charge a fee, but there is a cap.
By law, they can only charge 2% to help someone fill out an application.
The county has set up a website to help people find assistance with obtaining necessary paperwork and navigating the lengthy application. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
6:07, let's get you to the traffic center, find out how the drive is going with Roger.
Well, there's still some slow going around the area, Michael. As traffic reports the service of Jack in the Box. If you're going home on northbound 170, Natural Bridge to 70 slow. We have a jam on westbound 70 approaching 94 through Hawks Nest about midway out to Zumbo. Looks like we have a little problem there. Westbound 64 slow from the Science Center to McCausland. A little busy at Ballas, a little slow at Top Golf, at the Boone Bridge, at K. And then Lake St. Louis Boulevard to 70 is kind of busy, so not much left there. Westbound 44, again, just sort of off the pace at Elm. Southbound 55, just a brief delay. Arsenal down to a Botgasconade. It's pretty well cleared out in Jefferson County. Eastbound 64 across the Poplars, slow. Just right at on 5570 over to Exchange. That's the only delay there. And then eastbound from just east of 157 to 159, you still got pretty heavy traffic. And we have a closure. It happened about 3:45 this afternoon. Eastbound 64 in Richview. Highway 51 is where they're diverting you off, and southbound 51 is a solid jam down to 15. There was a crash involving 2 semis east of there. They're still working on that cleanup. I'm Roger Brand in the Michael's Flooring Outlet.com Traffic Center.
Brought to you by Jack in the Box.
Spending 2 hours staring at the back of someone's bumper isn't the best way to end your day. So Jack in the Box is giving you a bonus with their new Bonus Jack Combo. Fries, a drink, and a burger with your choice of 1, 2, or 3 patties starting at just $4.49. Get so much more.
There are a couple of spotty thunderstorms around, but for the most part, we are relatively quiet. But if a little cell pops up, just be aware that they are around. But as the sun goes down, that action just falls apart. Partly cloudy skies overnight tonight, 80s this evening, 68 for the low. Now, it's still summertime, but the humidity levels and the temperatures really aren't too rough to take. That's going to continue on Thursday. Partly sunny. Let's call it pretty nice for the month of August, especially mid-August. 89 for the high. Thursday night, clear skies, 71. And then it comes back. Friday morning is okay, but Friday afternoon, sunny, back to hot and humid. 95 for the high Friday afternoon. 75 Friday night. Saturday and Sunday, sunny, hot and humid. Each day over the weekend, 97. I'm meteorologist Dave Murray on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
We've got sunshine across the board. It's 85 in St. Peters, Florissant, and downtown. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Come on, let's get going now. From KMOX Sports. We're primed and ready. All day, baby. Man, let's go. This is the Gray Bar Sports Open Live. Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. On 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Here we go. Welcome in. It's a Gray Bar Sports Open Line right here on KMOX. My name's Matt Pauley. Great to have you with us today as we keep the Cardinals conversation rolling. We've got a few other things to get to as we go through the program tonight, taking you until 8 o'clock. A few guests are going to be on the show in about 10 minutes. Our guy, Bernie Miklas, is going to join us. We'll get his thoughts on what we saw from the Cardinals today. Oh, man, bad loss. Really bad loss to the Rockies, and they end up losing 2 of 3 in the series. We're going to talk with Josh Eastern later on this hour. He is going to have the call for City SC this weekend on MLS, Apple TV MLS Season Pass. And then next hour, Danny Vietti, part of the Major League Baseball team at CBS Sports and co-host of the Wake and Rake podcast that he does with Will Middlebrooks. He is going to join us coming up as well. As always, if you want to join in on the program, you can do so. Multiple ways to get connected. You can call or text 314-436-7900, 314-436-7900. You can tweet at me at Matt Pauley on air, MattPauley on air, or you can just leave a comment on the video chat as we are continuing the video stream. It was a spirited version of Redbird Rush Hour today as we took a lot of comments, and that was, I kind of stood back. I let Kevin, I deal with that a lot as the person who hosts the post-game show on almost an everyday basis. I deal with the comments and trying to talk through that on an everyday basis. So being able to sit back and watch Kevin do it, I kind of enjoyed it. And Kevin and I have different approaches. Neither is right. Neither is wrong. It was just fun. I enjoyed it. I was as much of a bystander and a viewer as I was a participant in Redbird Rush Hour today. And I certainly enjoyed that. But the points were, I'll be honest with you. I'm always honest with you. I'm never going to lie to you. I get frustrated sometimes when there are things that seem really obvious to me, and there are people who disagree, and I have a hard time understanding how they have gone down the path to where they've gotten to. I have no problem, zero problem disagreeing with people where I see their path. And like 90% of the time, I see the path. And I love it. I love being able to go back and forth with people that I disagree with, where I see where they're coming from, but I really disagree with it. And then hopefully they see where I'm coming from, but they disagree with it. And it creates a conversation. And I really enjoy that. I just very specifically to Oliver Marmol today and the way he managed this Cardinals game today, I don't understand how you can put the blame on him. He managed the game with specifically to the bullpen. Like there's some small. I would not have let Pedro Paez bat in the 9th inning. I would have pinch hit Pozo in that spot. That's something I would have done different than Ali. So I'm not like angry about it, not overly upset about it. But when Paez comes up to the plate, and I know he had 2 hits in the day, and he almost got a hit there. That took a great defensive play for him to get that for the second out of the inning. So it's not that I agree with everything that's going on, but it's also sometimes I can like mildly disagree with something, but it not be something that I'm up in arms over. I probably wouldn't have hit Paez in that situation. I probably would have gone to Pozo, not an end of the world moment by any stretch of the mind. But from a bullpen usage standpoint, I don't know how you can argue with what was done today. The Cardinals, since the trade deadline, their high leverage, close and late guys have been really good. And occasionally it's been Romero in the 8th and O'Brien in the 9th based on, the lefty or the righty lanes that might be coming up. If it clearly presents itself in a way that Romero gives you a matchup advantage in the 8th inning that won't exist in the 9th inning, well, then you go Romero in the 8th. I don't think that was the case today. The guy who hit the home run, Goodman, he probably would have come up as a pinch hitter in the 8th inning if Romero would have been in that spot. So not that for sure the same thing would have ended up playing out in that way. I've specific to this game, and I know some of the comments we got during the Redbird rush hour were taking a step back and looking at the larger body of work. And George came in to their video stream and said, I don't think anyone is blaming Marmol for today's loss. There are some who are that they blamed Oliver Marmol for JoJo Romero giving up that home run. So yeah, there's George, to your point, there's 2 different conversations going on here. The overall body of work for Oliver Marmol versus the way he managed the game today. I'm not really interested in having either of those conversations, to be perfectly honest with you, because I don't think we've had the overall body of work conversation, and I don't want to have that conversation. And then the conversation of how he managed it. So this is funny. So Patrick comes in and says, who blamed Ali today? Where just a moment earlier, Kevin says, I'm tired of losses like this under Ali's watch. So if you said you're tired of losses like this under Ali's watch, there is inference there that Oliver Marmol had something to do with today's loss. So there you go. Patrick, you ask a question. I give you an answer with the comment that came in from Kevin just moments earlier. So again, we're going to try to avoid going down this path too much. We did it a lot during Redbird rush hour, and that we don't need to keep going down this path. But there are certainly some bigger issues about this team that we are going to talk about as we do go along today. Again, Bernie Miklasz is going to join us. We'll talk a little City SC soccer. A reminder for you, we are going to, tomorrow is going to sound a little bit different during these hours, because we are going to be doing our City Showcase event where we're going to be at Hot Shots. We're going to be at the Wentzville Hot Shots coming up tomorrow. And our featured guest is going to be City defender Jay Reed. So the way it's going to work tomorrow, for those of you who are both listening and who want to come out for the event, Jay is going to join me and Jen Cease for 20-30 minutes or so, from right at the top of the show to about 6:30. We'll do a couple more soccer things through the end of the 6 o'clock hour, and then the 7 o'clock hour is going to be more the standard sports open line that we would normally do. So we've got a few more of these showcases, but if I've brought my daughter out to these events a few times. She loves it, getting to meet the soccer players, and they're always great with kids and so forth. So if you are looking for something to do tomorrow, would certainly encourage you to make your way out to Hot Shots. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. And if you can't make it, be tuned in. Bernie Miklasz is going to join us in just a moment or so. Don't go anywhere. This is a Gray Bar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
This Labor Day weekend, we're celebrating Bob's Discount Furniture's 200th store milestone with the entire Bob's family across the country. For more than 30 years, we've believed everyone deserves the home they love. That's why we brought our everyday low prices on furniture, mattresses, and more to over 200 locations from coast to coast and counting. Not to mention free treats for the whole family in our cafes. Celebrate Bob's Discount Furniture's 200 store milestone this Labor Day weekend.
Oh, my Bob!
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install a Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson. Paid for by Action Matters. Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textingterms.us. Texting enrolls you for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop to opt out.
Attention parents of children who have used the gaming platform known as Roblox. If your child was a victim of sexual abuse or harm of any kind while using the Roblox platform, you may be entitled to compensation. Roblox is facing multiple high-profile lawsuits, including an ongoing class action, alleging it failed to protect users from foreseeable dangers that led to the grooming, exploitation, and sexual abuse of minors on the platform. Claims allege Roblox turned a blind eye to predators, unsafe games, and deceptive monetization practices that targeted children. Victims were contacted through in-game chats and coerced into private conversations on third-party apps. If you believe your child may have been a victim of grooming, sexual abuse, or harm of any kind while using the Roblox platform, you may be entitled to a cash settlement. Text our helpline now to find out if you have a viable compensation claim against Roblox. Text GONE to 32 32 32. That's GONE to 32 32 32. GONE to 32 32 32.
Hi, my name is Christina Straight, the owner of Straight Realty, and I'm asking you, what do you want in a realtor? Do you want experience? I've been a broker for over 21 years. Do you want to know how much I've sold? I've sold over $500 million, yes, $1 billion with a B, in sales. Do you want value? I now list properties for only 2%. So, if you're looking for all these things and want the best, then call me 314-441-4444. Why pay more than 2? You can also listen to my podcast on my website, straightrealty.com.
Commissions are not regulated and negotiable. Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. So as you know, I'm a lawyer, haven't practiced in a long time, but I did plaintiff's work and defense work, so I have a pretty good understanding of it. I have a pretty good idea of who's who in the firmament of plaintiffs, attorneys, and for my money, Mark Cantor is the guy. He's a great attorney. He is a great practitioner. He's put together a great team. He was born and raised here. He lives here. He works here. He wins here. Call 314-628-ALL-9s or CantorInjuryLaw.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based on advertisement.
Now, back to the Gray Bar Sports Open Line on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Back at it on KMOX. It is a Gray Bar Sports Open Line. My name is Matt Pauley. Great to have you with us today, taking you until 8 o'clock, doing a lot of Cardinal baseball after just a really bad loss today and a bad showing against, speaking of bad, a bad Colorado Rockies team. We're very happy to welcome on to the program right now. He is part of the team here at KMOX. You also see him. You see him, you hear him, you read him over at STL Sports Central. You see and hear him over with the Cardinal Territory podcast that he does with Katie Wu. It's our good friend Bernie Michaelis, being brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. Bernie, thanks for the time. How are you?
Matt, good to be with you, buddy. Man, was that the worst loss of the season, in your opinion?
There's a lot that there's a bunch that we could look. I would have to take some time. I'm not trying to not answer you, Bernie, but there's been enough as somebody who hosts the post-game show, and I remember the empty moments as I'm getting in my car to drive home after a tough show, I feel like I've had a bunch of those this year, and it might not be a fun exercise, but I would have to look at a bunch of them. But it's in the conversation. I'll go with that.
Yeah, I mean, to lose the season series to the Rockies, a team that's on the trajectory to, be the worst team in baseball history in a single season, and a team that just was utterly feckless on the road all season. So they come in here and the Cardinals win the opener and then lose 2 straight. They get shut out again. I mean, the Rockies have had 2 shutouts since May 15th, 2024, and both of them have been against the Cardinals. One out there in July and then one here the other or Tuesday night. Sorry. And I mean, and just the way that game unfolded, and I know a lot of the emphasis, rightfully so, will be on the fact that the Cardinals bullpen had a bad day. Look, it's going to happen. Those guys have done a really good job. I think, Matt, that I was more perturbed by the fact that the Cardinals built a 5-3 lead. And not only were they shut out over the final 4 innings, they were 0 for 12, and they didn't even draw a walk. And frankly, it was some of the worst at bats I think I've ever seen. So, I mean, I know the fellas have an off day tomorrow, but I don't know, maybe not kind of check out mentally, maybe play the final 4 innings and maybe, give your bullpen a little bit of a break, tack on a couple of runs against basically the worst bullpen in the major leagues. 2 nights in a row, that bullpen, 5 1/3 inning or 5 2/3 innings. Cardinals did nothing against them in losing the final 2 games of the series. So yeah, you can probably tell by the tone of my voice, I actually think it was the worst loss of the season by the Cardinals, but I can't. It's a matter of opinion, of course.
I know my job is to use words correctly, and I've been trying to figure out the words I want to use, and I just can't come up with it. So this is going to be a bad description, but it feels like they lose their edge really quickly at various times. And I think edge is the wrong word, Bernie, but that's not it. But I don't know what word I want to use. But whether it's coming off a good series where they had to play their best baseball to take 2 out of 3 against the Cubs or the Dodgers or whoever, or a game where they have a lead against a lesser opponent, and then all of a sudden, as you said, they don't have good at bats. It just feels like it doesn't take much for this team to fall off of what is their version of their best baseball.
Yeah, right. And I don't have a good word for it either, man. But I think it's more than anything. Listen, in a way, if you think about how far south the offense has gone since June 30th, and that was the beginning of that stretch where they lost 3 games by shutout in Pittsburgh, and it got worse from there. And it's really been statistically the worst offense in baseball since June 30th. And we know that the Cardinals have a really, really hard time stringing good starting pitching performances together. So we know that it's a pretty fragile team. It's a pretty vulnerable team. In some ways, I look at them and they're 61-61, and I'm thinking, all things considered, that seems about right. They've probably done a little better than they should have. So I don't know why I'm surprised when the tilt-a-whirl goes around, and you get dizzy again because they win a few. They beat, like you said, They beat the Dodgers and Cubs only to come back, then lose a home series to the Rockies. I mean, in a weird, it doesn't make sense, but actually, if you think about it, it makes a lot of sense because this season has been crazy for the Cardinals.
They keep lulling me. I'm angry at them because they keep lulling me in. Like they get within 3 games and I start playing if this happens and if this happens, and if the Mets just keep doing what they've been doing recently, and I don't really believe in Cincinnati that much anyways. Hey, it's a low possibility, but there is a pathway, and I get in that headspace, and then I get brought back down to earth when they lose 2 of 3 to the Rockies and lose the way they did today.
Yeah, and I hate to use a cliche, man. I was just trying to think of a better cliche, but I got nothing. They're like that. Peanuts and Charlie Brown thing. Lucy, pulling a football. Charlie Brown goes to kick it. Maybe that's for our older listeners, but that's a pretty famous episode.
I'm 43 now. I get it. I'm good with that one.
But yeah, they're Lucy pulling the football. Okay. Charlie Brown's ready to tee up, and No, she pulls the football away. So that's kind of the Cardinals.
I still consider myself young at 43, and then I watch like SNL and the musical guest comes on, and I have no clue who they are, and I realize, okay, I'm older than I like to think I am.
Well, wait till you get 66, Buster.
So if they're gonna have a series like this, what are they playing for at this point? Because you lose 2 of 3 to the Rockies, yet we continue to hear that it seems unlikely that a Quinn Matthews or a JJ Weatherholt will come up at the end of the year. It was good to the positive day. Michael McGreevy like kind of battles through the 6 innings, looked all right, did his normal contact thing, but worked through it. It feels I want to know what the definition is supposed to be for the final month and a half of the season, and I don't totally know what it is.
Well, I'm tired of using the R word, and you know what that is, because we've all said it way too many times. But the best thing I can come up with is that, number one, they're still trying to learn about certain players. And frankly, the results, at least, offensively since the end, since June 30th, have been very, very disappointing. A lot of their guys that they're keeping an eye on, have sort of faded out. But on the other hand, Walker and Gorman offensively have been pretty good. Mm-hmm. They've been above average since then. So I think there's some guys that can still kind of strengthen their case for the Cardinals to take them forward instead of maybe thinking about trading them. I think there's still some of that in play. And with the pitching staff, it's a little different because I think the relievers are kind of auditioning. And that's good because you're going to need high leverage guys next season. And I don't even know what to say about the starting pitching. Are they really going to come back with Andre Palante? Fine fellow. He grinds. He cares. But you never know what you're going to get from start to start. What's going on with Matthew Liberatore? We know what's going on. He's losing velocity. But is that a sign of something dangerous or damaging, on the something that could really cause an injury where if you lose your velocity and your command, what's that going to lead to? Should they shut him down? I'm sorry, I couldn't get the words out there. I'm kind of looking at stuff like that. It's kind of like make your case. Most of those hitters, make your case.
Yeah.
And also, if I'm Chaim Bloom and Ollie Marble, I don't think the Cardinals have checked out all that much. All teams go through those stretches where it looks like they do check out a little bit. But I would be looking to make sure. I want to see who's going to check out and who's going to keep competing their tails off. I really want to see that too.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Bernie Miklasz, you hear him as part of the Gas House Gang. You hear him on Redbird Rush Hour, Sports on Sunday Morning. Of course, it's always been brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. Before we get you out of here, Bernie, can you tell a little bit about our friends over at Saliga?
It's my pleasure. The Miklasz family's been calling Saliga Heating and Cooling. That's a family-owned business still since 1927. And we have found out with generations of St. Louis families knew before we did, which is if you have a problem with your heating and cooling, or you have a problem with your indoor air quality, and if you need your ducts to be cleaned, or you need to have, you want them to install a ductless system, man, they have an unbelievable range of services for your home. And you can find out more about that at SaligaHeatingandCooling.com. But what I was about to say, the one thing there's a lot of reasons I'm proud to talk about Saliga Heating and Cooling as a loyal customer. But man, the beautiful thing is they're so honest and you can trust them, and they never try to talk you or pressure you into anything. They always look to see, okay, we have a cheaper solution here. You don't need to spend that kind of money. Okay. And they'll say, you got another 2-3 years with this piece of equipment, and then we'll revisit it. We'll check in, from time to time. See, that's what you get. You get that trustworthiness and integrity. You also get great professionalism and knowledge and prompt service. And they also have the Priority Club. It's a maintenance plan that will save you money by extending the life of your current equipment. And we have saved money by being in that Priority Club at Saliga Heating and Cooling. You also get priority scheduling, and you'll have the comfort of knowing your home is safe and ready for all seasons. Find out more about our friends at Saliga Heating and Cooling just by going to SaligaHeatingandCooling.com. Thank you.
Some people hit the bars on Friday night. Amy, she's diving deep into congressional maps.
I want your review of the Talleyrand essay by 4 next Thursday.
I'm so excited. John Adams, Talleyrand, and gerrymandering. Sign me up. Friday night, baby.
Working for you. The Chris and Amy Show.
It's the wildest thing she's done on a Friday in 5 years.
Weekdays at 9 on the voice of St. Louis. 104.1 FM KMOX.
Hey, it's Debbie Monterey, and between now and the end of the summer, chances are that you or someone you know is in the market to buy or sell a home. And like me, you probably know a few realtors. Well, yeah, I know several as well, but when someone I know needs to sell their home, I always recommend Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. I've been telling you about Gloria for years now, and here's why you should call, because no matter what the market does, Gloria Liu will guarantee up front and in writing to sell your home at 100% of market value, or Gloria will pay you the difference.
St. Louis home sellers, if you're looking for certainty and the most money guaranteed for the sale of your home, call me, Gloria Liu. My name is My Promise, Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Call me directly at 314-325-6888 or visit me online at gloriahasthebuyers.com. That's gloriahasthebuyers.com.
Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
Paul's new drone startup just lost its most genius computer scientist.
We just lost our best genius to some new genius who's got a genius new idea. I'm going to have to find a new genius or two half geniuses and fast.
He needs a computer scientist that can keep his startup from falling down.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
When you want a brand new kitchen, there's nothing to it. There's a brand new way to do it. 3-Day Kitchen and Bath.
Roger, tell us about your experience working with 3-Day Kitchen and Bath.
We just had a very fine experience with the work that 3-Day Kitchen and Bath had done on our home. They had taken out walls and put in a new kitchen and a new bath and did it in an extremely timely manner with some of the finest workers that we've been associated with. Easy to work with. They did what we asked them to do. And each of the subs that they had, whether it was putting in the bath, the shower stalls, and they came in a timely manner. The plumber was here on time. The electricians were here when they said they would be here, and things just worked out really well for us. And I've done it myself, and it'll probably take me 2 years.
It's about time.
3 days or less
at 3-Day Kitchen and Bath.
You might know Graybar for cable and connectivity, but there's one more thing you should know us for that can help optimize your project's total value, like our comprehensive electronic solutions for security, AV, wireless, and networking, or our specialized job site services, like material staging and kitting, or maybe our logistics specialists who can help you identify efficiencies and ensure just-in-time delivery. So consider what one more thing you may need to optimize your bottom line and get to know us for that. Yep. Graybar does that.
You've got a ton of equity in your home. You're sitting on a gold mine, and you could do so much with all that cash, like travel, invest it, or pay off debt, but you can't touch it unless you sell your home. But you really don't want to move. And besides, homes are sitting on the market for a long time these days. You're trapped, right? Well, not with TrueHold. With TrueHold, you can cash out your equity in as little as 30 days. And listen, you don't have to move. You can stay in the home you love as a renter. So that's TrueHold's Sell and Stay program. You cash out your entire home's value and stay put. TrueHold even covers property taxes, property insurance, and essential repairs. So imagine using that equity to travel, invest, or pay off debt and stay in your home. It's brilliant, especially in this slow market. You get an all-cash offer now by calling 1-855-300-9993. You can also visit Truehold.com, the smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without moving. That's Truehold.com.
The Siteman Cancer Center spotlight how an innovative immunotherapy is showing promise against aggressive T-cell cancers. Joining us is Dr. John DiPersio.
Until very recently, until this paper and a few other groups in the world have sort of developed approaches for T-cell malignancies, there was no hope for patients who relapsed. There were no effective therapies. This is a way of treating these patients that would normally have no other recourse.
For more information, visit siteman.wustl.edu.
Are you looking to hire? ZipRecruiter finds the best candidate for your job fast. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/free. That's ziprecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Hello, fellow Missourians. This is your Congressman Bob Onder. My top priority is serving you. Whether you need help with a VA claim, Social Security, Medicare, or any other federal issue, my team and I are here to cut through the red tape and give you answers. In the last 6 months alone, we have returned over $1 million to taxpayers. Call my office or visit my website, onder.house.gov, to learn more. Missouri is my home, and I'm honored to serve you in D.C.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
Cards manager Ollie Marble joins the Gas House Gang every Tuesday at noon. Sponsored by Siteman Cancer Center on the voice of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It's Redbird Sports Open Line right here on KMOX. We are efforting right now Josh Eastern. He's going to be on the call this weekend as City SC gets back at. They're coming off arguably their best performance of the year, and it was good to see that. I don't really know what they are playing for at this point outside of just kind of pride at this point, but coming away with a 3-1 victory is something that is it was good to see. So that was we're hoping to get Josh on here in a moment or so. They won over Nashville by a 3-1 score. They are going to get back at it coming up on Saturday when they take on Chicago. And again, we'll see what they can do. And yeah, we are, like I said, we're efforting Josh Eastern at this point in time. We're trying to get him on, so we'll work on that, and hopefully he is able to join us in the next moment or so. If it sounds like I am vamping, I am. We're doing a few things all at once, trying to get him on. So we'll try to make that happen here in just a moment or so. And hopefully we'll be able to talk some City SC with him. Again, we're going to be at Hot Shots coming up tomorrow when the Hot Shots in Wentzville, and we're looking forward to that. So Josh should be with us in just a moment or so, and we'll talk with him. Again, that was a good effort. That was a good performance from City SC against Nashville this past weekend. Finally, for the first time since David Critchley had taken over, it felt like it all came together. And now the question is, can they stack good performances against each other, or good performances back to back, and we'll see if they can do that coming up on Saturday when they match up against Chicago. But I'd be very interested to know what Josh Eastern thinks about this team and what maybe they are going to be able to do here moving forward. So we hope to, I think we're going to get him in just a moment or so, and we'll be able to talk again. He's going to be part of the team, or he is part of the team with Apple TV and MLS Season Pass. So on that note, I think we are just about set, ready to go. Yeah, Josh Eastern is going to join us right now. Sometimes live radio, we got to work through a couple things. Josh is with us here at the moment. Josh, thanks for taking some time. How are you?
Thank you for having me. So sorry about that, but glad we can make this work.
Yeah, no problem. No problem at all. So what did you think? Because, I mean, obviously City's having a just not a good season, but they were able to put together arguably their best complete performance this past weekend when they beat Nashville 3-1. What did you see from them that was maybe different than what we've seen from them most of the year?
I mean, I think the biggest thing is just the ability to score some goals. I mean, scoring 3 goals against one of the best teams in Major League Soccer in Nashville is huge, but also getting your DP scoring goals. And Joao Klaus, it was his first goal since that RSL game that was almost a month ago at the beginning of July. So that's going to be the key for this team. It's been kind of one goal, no goals. They did get a couple goals against Portland and RSL, but scoring multiple goals on a more consistent basis, it's pretty simple. You score, you're probably going to have a good chance at winning a few games.
I guess, the playoffs is not a complete, they're not totally eliminated, but at the same time, it would take a lot for them to get there, them winning, them getting help, all of that going down. But they've also added a lot of players. They're continuing to add players. As you look at this team and where they're at right now, what are the things that they can still accomplish as the season moves along?
I think this is going to be a key kind of end to the season for those sorts of DPs. Who are they going to be moving forward? This is a kind of a testing ground now to see if they can produce at the end of this season. Of course, David Critchley's there. I would assume that there could be a new head coach coming in for next season. That's just pure speculation. But this is going to be who fits the mold, who does not fit the mold, and if you don't fit the mold, then I guess as we've seen with his club, Lutz is not afraid to go out and make some changes.
We're talking with Josh Eastern. He's going to be on the call coming up this weekend as City SC matches up against Chicago. Of course, you can watch it on Apple TV and MLS Season Pass. You mentioned Klaus, and as somebody who's so important to what this team wants to accomplish because of his role as designated player, like you mentioned, it took a while for him to find the back of the net. And there were many opportunities where he was right there and it just didn't happen for him. Is this an opportunity for him to maybe show out a little bit between now and the end of the season? Really, almost every player, it feels like in many ways, they're almost playing for their jobs at this point.
Yeah, and this is an interesting part of the schedule as well, because they'll take on a Chicago team. It's a team that leaks quite a few goals. Chicago so far this year has given up 42 goals. Then kind of look down the schedule. Vancouver's going to be a tough one, but then Houston and Dallas both at home, and Montreal, and then San Jose even a little bit farther. So these are teams that have conceded a lot of goals and are not towards kind of the upper echelon of Major League Soccer, except for the Whitecaps coming up next week. But so this is a great opportunity for this City team to get clicking, and especially Joao Klaus, who I would assume if he can stay healthy, is going to be in the lineup week in, week out.
What have you seen? Because it feels like, and this is a very amateur take by me, it seems like the overall aesthetics of the way City has played has been much better since Critchley took over. They are a much more entertaining team, but at the same time, the results haven't been there up until this past weekend. As you've watched them and maybe compared them to what they were earlier on this season when Olaf Melberg was around, do you see a large difference in how they're playing? And is it something that maybe is continuing to kind of come around a little bit more each and every week?
Yeah, I think this is an interesting team with St. Louis, because when Olaf was there, it was a team, and we talked to David Critchley. I actually called the first game that David was in charge, and it was just more about giving these guys freedom to kind of be on the ball. It was a different type of system that just obviously didn't really work out for City in the first few months of the season. And now I think David's trying to get this team to be on the ball a little bit more. There's so many more technical players that kind of make up that midfield and then a little bit higher up. So I think he's trying to find kind of the right formula. And this is a team that's been in so many games, a 2-1 loss against Minnesota, so many 1-goal losses since he's taken over. So they've been right there. Now it's just about kind of getting them over that hump. And I think that the game against Nashville was a great kind of show and what this team could be, but they just need to do it on a more consistent basis, obviously.
That was going to kind of be my next question. If they put the kind of effort out that they had against Nashville, if they play that way against Chicago, is this a situation where they have a very good chance of being able to win? Is that a winning effort every single week in MLS is basically what I'm asking.
Yeah, I don't see why not. They had a little bit less of the ball at 43%. Now it's a Nashville team that does like to be on the ball a little bit more, but if they can be as kind of efficient in front of goal as they were, it was three goals scored, 8 shots on target. That's a pretty decent return for a City team that's kind of struggled to score so far this season. But as I mentioned, with the teams coming up in Houston, Dallas, Montreal, San Jose, those are 4 teams that have conceded a lot of goals this year, and it's a chance for the City team that, yeah, as you said earlier, it's going to take quite a push to get them into the playoffs, but they can at least try to string together a few wins here.
He is Josh Eastern. He's going to be on the call coming up this weekend as City SC is in action. I know there's a lot of people out there that have still not fully partaken in with the product that is MLS Season Pass on Apple TV. And it's not just the game broadcast, and you guys have every game and do a fantastic job in presenting those games, but it's a lot of studio programming and other content. Give a plug for everything that is available with this package for fans that are interested in watching a little bit more soccer and getting a little bit more soccer content.
Yeah, I mean, MLS Season Pass has it all. I mean, Leagues Cup is coming to a close here. The quarterfinals will be next week, and that's going to be super fun. You get, again, like an Inter Miami team going up against Tigres. That's one of the top teams in Mexico. But then during league match days, MLS 360 is just one of my favorite shows that I watch. If I have a late game, I'm always tuning in to 360 early in the night to kind of see what's going on, get the lay of the land across Major League Soccer. And yeah, as you said, it's every game. It's the top level of soccer in this country, and it's been a whole lot of fun so far this year.
Josh Eastern, he is on the call this weekend on Apple TV MLS Season Pass for City SC as they are going to match up against Chicago. That's going to be a Saturday evening matchup in Chicago at SeatGeek Stadium. Josh, thanks so much for taking some time with us today. Hope to catch up with you again down the line.
Thanks so much for having me. Looking forward to the game upcoming.
Awesome. Very good. That's Josh Eastern joining us on the program. We appreciate him taking a few moments with us. We have you till 8 o'clock this evening. We're going to jump back into baseball. That's going to be what we're going to mostly do, if not all we do, between now and 8 o'clock tonight. So stick with us. It's a Gray Bar Sports Open Line right here on KMOX.
Why do the national tax resolution firms need the tiny fine print at the bottom of all their TV ads? Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. You don't hear fast-talking disclaimers in our ads because the claims we make are 100% transparent. The Lance Drury Law Firm primarily focuses on one thing, IRS problems, and we're regulated by the Bar Association, and we have a AAA rating with the Better Business Bureau. IRS issues are serious legal issues. The Lance Drury Law Firm has helped thousands of clients navigate the best resolution plans, and we tell you up front exactly how much it'll cost. Tax resolution law is all we do. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure salesperson, give us a call at the Lance Drury Law Firm, located right here in St. Louis. Call today to schedule your free consultation with me, 314-260-6120, or visit LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
The KMOX City SC Soccer Showcase, presented by Michelob Ultra. Heads to Hot Shot Sports Bar and Grill in Wentzville, Thursday, August 14th. A limited number of fans can get an autograph or a picture with City SC left back Jay Reed. Register to win great prizes. Enjoy great food and a cold drink. Hot Shots in Wentzville, the place to be Thursday, August 14th from 6 till 8 p.m. for the City SC Soccer Showcase, presented by Michelob Ultra. For more info, KMOX.com/events.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell, definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit information kit. 800-311-9595. That's 800-311-9595.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. We're dedicated to serving people 50 and up like me. Our needs are different. Big Wireless wants us in an unlimited plan, but if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used. At Consumer Cellular, we're focused on affordable, reliable plans, including data that suits your needs, not ours. Our plans start at just $20, and you'll get the best customer service in the business.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/facts or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. One question I'm always asked is, how did you become the largest injury firm in the world with over 1,000 attorneys and $25 billion in verdicts and settlements? One way was our financial strength. Medical malpractice is the third leading cause of death in America. To prosecute a typical case costs up to $250,000 in case cost. We advance them all. Product liability cases can have similar costs with an army of lawyers on the other side. Automobile insurance companies have the resources to fight. Guess what? So do we. Many law firms simply may not have the financial firepower to work up your case the way you deserve. And we don't charge by the hour. No recovery, no fee. If you have a question about your case or wish to become a client, go to forthepeople.com on your mobile device or computer. 24/7. It's that easy. Morgan & Morgan. Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports Open Line. Once again, Matt Pauley on KMOX.
We are back at it here on KMOX as we roll through, taking you for another hour and 8 minutes until 8 o'clock tonight. As always, if you want to join in on what we're talking about, you can do so by calling or texting 314-436-7900, 314-436-7900. You can also tweet at me, at Matt Pauley on air. And for those of you who are watching the video chat, you can just put our video stream, you can put it in chat. Like Walt says, he has two guarantees for 2026, that Miles Michaelis and Garrett Hampson will not be on the roster. I think you're right on both those things. You know, the Garrett Hampson thing, there's some frustration to it because you feel like maybe there's some guys at AAA that you would like to give a major league opportunity just to see them. And how much is Garrett Hampson really helping this team? I don't think the answer is none. I don't think it's not that Hampson has done nothing to help this team, but the things that he has done have been in his good defense. They've been on his base running, and those things matter, but they don't matter enough that you just kind of give a roster spot to somebody. As a Cardinal, he is hitting 120 with a 314 OPS. Hey, there you go. He's a St. Louis guy. He's got his OPS is 314. So he's got a St. Louis OPS. I kid. I mean, I don't kid about the OPS. I kid about the 314 thing. This is kind of who he has been. Cincinnati, he's played for now 3 teams this year. With Arizona, had a 167 average. With Cincinnati, had a 167 average. Yeah. So he's not doing a lot with his bat. He's kind of the last guy on the roster. This team just values so much the defensive abilities and things like that. And I get it. It's not that it doesn't matter, but when we're talking about a team that just went out and could not score runs against one of the worst teams in not just in baseball, but in the history of baseball, you just lost 2 out of 3 against the Rockies, and you struggle to 7 runs over the 8 runs, 8 runs over the 3 games. It's just not good enough. And you would like to see players on the roster that can contribute more. I was really happy today with the way the lineup had Newt Barr in center field. And then late in the game, they brought Victor Scott in to play in center field, and they moved Newt Barr over to left, and that got Herrera out of left field. And that played out in a way that I was more of a fan of, because Newt Barr's bat is better than Victor Scott's bat. We can have the discussion about where Newt Barr's at and his lack of doing what you would like to see him do from an offensive standpoint. But it's clear that he's got more of a plus bat than Victor Scott has. He's not as good of an outfielder out there. You're going to get more from getting more at bats from a guy who takes a little bit of a step back defensively in center field. What do you know? Newt Barr goes 2 for 4, hits the home run. Then they do eventually, when it's a close game late, they do eventually take Newt Barr, move him to left field. What happens in the 8th inning? He has all 3 outs out there. Like, that's the way it should go. And I would like to see more of that. Now, it does create a challenge because you still want to develop Victor Scott II. You still view him as somebody who can be very important to this team moving forward. All of these things can be true, and that's the predicament that you're working through. But if you're looking at it from a best team on the field, win games now perspective, having Newt Barr in center field over Victor Scott II, in my opinion, you're going to win more games with him out there, especially when you're struggling offensively, because he gives you a little bit more. It's a Gray Bar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
Oh no, stomach issues again? Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
I went hands-free.
I went hands-free.
I went hands-free.
I went hands-free with Skechers Slip-ins.
Join the millions of people who are celebrating going hands-free with Skechers Slip-ins. Footwear you just step into and they're on.
It's crazy how something as simple as a pair of shoes have made my life better.
After trying Skechers Slip-ins, I want all my shoes to have this technology. See what everybody can't stop talking about. Go hands-free with Skechers Slip-ins at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want a boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Put it all together and you've got what you need to turn things all the way up. Getting started is simple. Just go to hims.com/joy to start your free online visit. Through Hims, you can access ED treatments including pills, chews, and more. 100% online. No office visits, no pharmacy lines. Just fill out a simple intake form and a licensed medical provider will determine if treatment's right for you. If prescribed, it ships free and discreetly to your door. Find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy, hims.com/joy.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
Mid-America's most trusted voice for news. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper. As the new school year kicks in, a school bus has rolled over just outside of Austin, Texas. CBS's Matt Piper.
There were 42 school kids on the bus and one driver when it rolled over just after picking up the kids from an elementary school. Leander, Texas Police Chief Greg Minton.
12 needed transport. One has life-threatening injuries. 2 have potentially life-threatening injuries. And the remaining 40 have non-life-threatening injuries.
Superintendent Bruce Gearing says the bus was equipped with seatbelts.
I do not have information about the bus driver other than that this is one of our seasoned veteran bus drivers. This was immediately after school, got out.
Matt Piper, CBS News.
President Trump says his virtual call today with Ukrainian President Zelensky and European leaders was constructive. Zelensky, through an interpreter, says of this Friday's meeting between Trump and Vladimir Putin.
We really hope that the ceasefire, immediate ceasefire, will be one main issue during this meeting.
The meeting is going to be held in Anchorage, where this resident says,
enough is enough. It's been over 2 years. And we've got bloodshed, and it's time for everybody to get peace and come to an agreement.
Heavy rain and flash flooding have proved deadly and destructive in Hamilton County, Tennessee. 4 people have died. CBS's Nicole Valdez in Chattanooga.
3 people in one family that were crushed by a tree that came crashing down on their car. Another man, they say, fire officials watched drive around barricades and was later swept away in those floodwaters.
Despite a temporary restraining order stopping warrantless immigration raids in L.A., local school districts are pledging students will be safe. KNX's Craig Figner.
What to do if ICE agents show up on campus as the new school year begins? Numerous Los Angeles school leaders say they've devised plans for individual campuses on exactly how they'll respond. It's an effort to assure parents and students that it's safe at school despite the ICE raids that happened in June. Here's LA Mayor Karen Bass.
Please send your kids to school. We will protect you from Washington. That is a profound moment. I didn't know that I would have to defend our democracy from the federal government.
Craig Figner for CBS News, Los Angeles.
Arguments before a San Francisco judge have wrapped up, with California arguing that President Trump's deploying of National Guard members to Los Angeles in June was illegal. Feds disagree. CBS News legal contributor Jessica Levinson.
California is alleging that once the National Guard and the Marines were on the ground in Los Angeles, that they crossed the line from acting in a supporting role, which is okay, to acting to directly enforce domestic law, which is not.
This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
At 7:03, we've got sun. It is 84 degrees downtown at the Arch. As reported first by KMOX, with the new school year for St. Louis Public Schools starting Monday, the teachers union is signaling no confidence in Superintendent Millicent Boroschetti.
KMOX has confirmed there is a petition drive underway. Local 420 spokesman Byron Clemens.
And we were a little surprised to see in the audit that some of the practices that were of a concern under the old regime may have transferred over to the new regime, but we'll find out.
AFT Local 420 had no decision in selecting Boroschetti as the superintendent. That was the previous school board.
And we were a little surprised to see in the audit that some of the practices that were of a concern under the old regime may have transferred over to the new regime, but we'll find out.
Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
Missouri's K-12 public school students scored better overall on their latest end-of-year test scores. They had the greatest gains in math and science, with the exceptions of fourth graders dropping in math and English scores and fifth graders dropping in math. During yesterday's State Board of Education meeting, Education Commissioner Carla Esslinger said literacy and attendance are probably the biggest factors holding back scores.
Are we where we need to be? Absolutely not. I want our kids to knock the top off of that assessment, but we are absolutely want to show that the things that are in place right now, we're seeing a little bit of a trend up. So that's a good thing, but we're diving into more. What is it we need to do more so?
A woman who fatally shot and drowned her 2 children last year will not face criminal punishment.
According to a press release by Jefferson County prosecuting attorney Tricia Stefanski, Ashley Parmalee was determined by 2 forensic examiners to be unable to comprehend the wrongfulness of killing her 2 children at the time of the incident last May. She's entered a plea of not guilty by reason of insanity related to the first-degree murder charges she faced and has been committed to the Department of Mental Health. According to Missouri law, a person found incapable of knowing the nature of the wrongfulness of their actions due to a mental defect cannot be held responsible for those crimes. Parmalee shot her 2 children in rural Bonne Terre last May and drove to the Festus Police Department to turn herself in. She stopped on the drive to drown her boy after learning he was still alive. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
St. Charles city leaders and the developers of a proposed data center that's known right now just as Project Cumulus may be in for an earful tomorrow night at an open house. County Executive Steve Ellman tells KMOX's Chris and Amy show the county does not have a role in this, but
I think it may very well be a good project in the bad place.
He's asking people to slow down and see if both sides can make their case at the open house. He admits he didn't know much about the project until recently when he and his staff were briefed.
After we heard the pitch, half of us thought it was a good idea and the other half thought it wasn't a good idea.
The open house is at the Foundry Arts Center from 5 to 7 tomorrow night. And the forecast for tonight, partly cloudy, low 68. For Thursday, sunshine, nice day for August, says Dave Murray, with the high of 89, 71 tomorrow night, clear sky. And for Friday, getting into the weekend, it's going to be hot and humid, lots of sun, and a high of 95. Right now, we've got sunshine. It's 84 downtown at the Gateway Arch. Feels like 86. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports Open Line. Once again, Matt Pauley on KMOX.
We are back at it as we get into hour number 2 of the program. Welcome back in. My name is Matt Pauley. If you want to join in, you can do so. 314-436-7900. 314-436-7900. That's how you call. That's how you text. Tweet at me at Matt Pauley on air, MattPauley on air. Or for those of you who are watching the video stream, feel free to leave a comment in the video chat. And we're glad to have you with us today. It's been a fun conversation. At times contentious. Look, there's been a lot of disagreement about some things that are going on with this team. I think something that we haven't really gotten to, and I was texting with Kevin Wheeler a little bit earlier, and he mentioned this because we talk so much about the results of this team. And in some ways, when I say what I'm about to say, it feels like I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth, because I am somebody that, hey, when they were back within 3 games of a playoff spot, I wasn't sitting here. I wasn't telling you, hey, this is a playoff team, but I was telling you the door hasn't completely closed. And I'm losing 2 out of 3 from the Rockies and where they're at right now. Like, that door still hasn't technically closed, but it's really hard to watch a team lose 2 out of 3 against a team that may end up having the worst record in the history of Major League Baseball. And at the same time, talk about, well, there's still a pathway to maybe grab that final wild card. Like, those two things just don't vibe together. That's right. Yeah. I'm not breaking any headlines when I say that. So I get that in some ways I'm the guy who's sitting here on the radio saying, hey, they're back within 3 games of a playoff spot a couple days ago. And then I'll sit here 2 days later, as things have not looked as good, and tell you this. This is what, like, today, and losing this series against the Rockies, even with them being a more talented team than the Rockies, but being back at 500, which is right where they're at now, this is kind of what they were advertised as. And that's what gets lost in all of this. And in some ways, it was almost a disservice that the Cardinals at one point in time had a really, really good record and were playing really, really good baseball, and were sitting in a playoff position, and it looked like they could be a team that could challenge for the division, because it looked like that. It wasn't that long ago that it looked like that. And what has happened since then is the Cardinals have not played as good at baseball. The Cubs also have not played as good at baseball. The Milwaukee Brewers have just taken off like you would never believe. I mean, the Brewers today won their 12th straight game. And still, outside of, look, it's a machine that they've got going there in Milwaukee. Outside of saying that, it's hard to figure out how they're doing what they're doing. But here is the one thing. You know what they do? They get strikeouts. They've got pitchers who throw hard and get strikeouts. And we've talked a lot about the Brewers' lack of hitting home runs. Well, you know what they've started doing here recently, especially since they have gone on this really, really good run. Like, they were good earlier and they weren't hitting home runs and they were scoring runs. Well, now all of a sudden they are, over the last month or so, they are as good of a home run hitting team as just about any team in baseball. So you look at the overall numbers for the Brewers and you see their home run total, and it's nothing to be really impressed by, but very much what has happened here recently is they have gone on this incredible month and a half, 2-month run. They've hit a lot of home runs and they strike a lot of guys out. At the end of the day, that's the problem with the Cardinals. They don't hit enough home runs and they don't strike enough guys out. And if they start doing more of that, all the other things, all the minutia that we get caught up in, because we do a lot of the stuff that we get caught up in, it's stuff to talk about, and it matters, but it matters on the margins. It's not this huge thing that is going to make the difference between being really good and being just kind of good, just around 500, being in the middle. And when the season got started, this season was presented as a runway season, as an opportunity to give young guys playing time, all that sort of stuff. They didn't talk much about the competitive nature of this team and then being able to go out and win and be a playoff club and all that stuff. People like me, I'll take blame. I'll take the blame. People like me and others, we were the ones who started that conversation when they were playing good baseball and had a really good record. So now all of a sudden, when it comes back around and they're just a 500 team, and every single time it feels like they're going to be a team that maybe could flirt with the playoffs and then falls back, it it feels different because we saw what it potentially could have been at some point earlier in the season. So I think that's something that is worth mentioning right now, that if they would have just kind of been a 500 team from the start of the season, well, then the narrative is, well, this is who they said they were going to be, this team. This is who they are. They looked better than that. They created a little bit of hope, and then they fall back. And that's where everything that is being said goes along with it. All right, let's grab a phone call. Kevin has given us a call. Hey, Kevin, you're on Sports Open Line.
Yeah, thank you, man. I'm going to tag on to what you're saying to try to manage the emotions of fans, and I'm one of them. And I was at the game today, and I was upset about the way things went today. But we have to have a perspective, I think. You know, I thought this team was a 500 team. I actually think it's a pretty entertaining team to watch. If we had been swept by the Dodgers and we swept Colorado, we'd be about the same place, but we might be feeling differently than what we feel today. And that's the ups and downs of the emotions of fans. And I think we need to, take a dose of reality on that. And so I'll finish with one comment. Was people ask me, I have friends that ask me, they know I'm a diehard Cardinal fan. They go, why do you go to these games and why do you watch these guys every day? And I said, because they're fun to watch and they got a 50% chance of winning every night, and I want to see what happens.
All right, Kevin.
So that's my say.
Very good. Appreciate the phone call. I think the storyline of attendance is a tired narrative. Earlier I said, I didn't want to talk about a couple things when it had to do with Oliver Marmol, and I got accused by people, oh, you don't want to talk about it when it's negative. No, we've talked about it. I like having new conversations. I like talking about the things that actually matter to the day and to the moment, and they don't have to be positive conversations. So the attendance thing, we've talked about it. We know where they're at. It was another not so great crowd today. I wish more people showed up. I think Kevin is totally spot on in what he just said, and I'm glad he was at the game. And when you're up high and you look around the ballpark and you see a lot of empty seats, it's kind of sad. You wish there were more people there. I can tell you towards the end of the game when Goodman came up and hit that home run, in that moment, I was right down on field level, kind of right behind home plate, because I was going to be going out on the field to do the post-game interview. And in that moment, as the Cardinals were trying to close out a win, when you were right there where there were people who were sitting, it felt great. I loved the emotion and the energy that went along with it. Unfortunately, there are a lot of, locations now across the ballpark that don't have that. I wish more people would show up. This is what I talked about earlier, when I disagree with people, but understanding the path that they take to get somewhere. I understand why people are not showing up. I do. I get it. I don't agree with it. I would like more people to show up, but I can understand it. And I do. Kevin might think this team is a little bit more entertaining than some people out there. The non-entertaining aspect about this team is the fluctuation of who they are offensively, because one night it can look really, really good, and the next night it looks not so good. And when it looks not so good, they're not the most entertaining team in the world, but they have players who can do special things. You want to go to the ballpark every day knowing that you might see something that you may never see again, or you see really rarely. That's where having a Mason Wynn and a Victor Scott II are really important, because they make plays that are super exciting that you just don't see very often. There's a limited amount of individuals on the roster who you feel really confident about the fact that any given day at the ballpark, there's a pretty good chance that they're going to do something that seems pretty special. All right, we'll take a break. And when we come back, we're going to be joined by Danny Vietti. He's part of the baseball team over at CBS Sports, also a co-host of the Wake and Rake podcast with Will Middlebrooks. We'll talk with him about everything going on in the world of baseball. He joins us in just a moment. Don't go anywhere. This is a Gray Bar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson. Paid for by Action Matters. Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textingterms.us. Texting enrolls you for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop to opt out.
Attention parents of children who have used the gaming platform known as Roblox. If your child was a victim of sexual abuse or harm of any kind while using the Roblox platform, you may be entitled to compensation. Roblox is facing multiple high-profile lawsuits, including an ongoing class action, alleging it failed to protect users from foreseeable dangers that led to the grooming, exploitation, and sexual abuse of minors on the platform. Claims allege Roblox turned a blind eye to predators, unsafe games, and deceptive monetization practices that targeted children. Victims were contacted through in-game chats and coerced into private conversations on third-party apps. If you believe your child may have been a victim of grooming, sexual abuse, or harm of any kind while using the Roblox platform, you may be entitled to a cash settlement. Text our helpline now to find out if you have a viable compensation claim against Roblox. Text GONE to 32 32 32. That's GONE to 32 32 32. GONE to 32 32 32.
Home title theft. It's on the rise, and it's devastating if it happens to you. Listen to the alarming words of an actual home title thief.
I don't need to know your date of birth and social security number. All I have to do is go to public records, create a document, and file that document. And then I can borrow against the house or sell the house. You may have no clue until you find out that your house has been sold or till several loans or several banks are foreclosing on you.
For pennies a day, Home Title Lock puts a virtual barrier of protection around your home's title with 24/7 monitoring. The instant they detect any tampering, you'll get an alert, and that's bad news for home title thieves. So when's the last time you checked on the title to your home? Find out if you're already a victim with your free title scan and complete title report. $100 value free with sign up. Just go to HomeTitleLock.com and sign up in minutes. That's HomeTitleLock.com. HomeTitleLock.com.
At Odyssey, we believe in creating a diverse and inclusive workforce. We also value the power of community and encourage local organizations to help us in referring qualified applicants to our stations. If you're a community organization interested in receiving our vacancy information, simply email equalemployment@odyssey.com. You'll be notified of all our open positions. That's equalemployment@odyssey.com. And for all our listeners, please visit odysseyinc.com/careers for a list of job openings at all Odyssey radio stations.
An important message from S&L Coins. S&L Coins pays top dollar for your gold and silver coins, old currency, gold-filled jewelry, scrap gold and silver, silver plating, gold and silver bullion. Get a quote with a call to S&L at 544-3600. S&L Coins, 544-3600. Or visit S&L Coins at 9300 Gravois, just east of McKenzie. Open 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, 9 to 4 Saturday. Before you sell, call S&L 544-3600.
Learn to design and create your own moss wall to decorate your home or office. Come out to Chesterfield Valley Nursery Saturday, August 23rd from 10 to 11:30 a.m. Only 15 spots available. Go to chesterfieldvalleynursery.com/events to register. Each attendee will receive a 20% off coupon for any additional retail purchase. Join us for this fun and informative class. Register now. chesterfieldvalleynursery.com/events.
Calling all future sportscasters. Sharpen your skills and learn from the best of the Missouri Broadcasters Association Sportscasters Forum, Tuesday, September 16th in St. Louis. Join Cardinals beat reporters, broadcasters, and the legendary John Rooney, the voice of the Cardinals, for insider sessions on play-by-play, interviewing, reporting, and more. Then cap the day with the Cards-Reds game at Busch Stadium. Open to college students and broadcasting pros. Just $10 for students, lunch, and a game ticket. Space is limited. Register by September 2nd at MissouriBroadcasters.org.
KMOX is everywhere. 1120 a.m. Streaming live on the Odyssey app and now at 104.1 FM.
Back at it on the Gray Bar Sports Open Line right here on KMOX. Tough day today for the Cardinals as they end up losing to the Colorado Rockies. They had a lead late, could not hold on to it, and then they lose, and they've lose 2 of 3. So just very weird team right now, taking series from the Cubs and the Dodgers, but losing series they lose the season series to the Rockies. Off tomorrow, back at it on Friday against the Yankees. Happy to be able to go to the guest line right now as we are welcoming onto the program. He's part of the MLB team over at CBS Sports, also co-host of the Wake and Rake podcast with Will Middlebrooks. He is our friend Danny Vietti. Danny, thanks for taking some time with us today. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing well. It's kind of winding down this baseball season. Playoffs are right around the corner, so good time to be a baseball fan.
Yeah, I saw what you tweeted out about 3 hours ago where you made the point that former Brewers Willie Adames and Devin Williams are really struggling in their current teams, where someone like Andrew Vaughn and someone like Quinn Priester, who joined the Brewers in the middle of the season this year, all of a sudden it's more than a resurgence. I mean, they have found almost like more than an all-star caliber level of play. What do you make of just everything going on with the Brewers? How many games they're winning? They've won 12 in a row. Every player they touch seemingly turns into gold. It's a really remarkable situation right now with Milwaukee.
I can't explain it, honestly. And this is what makes baseball so magical, though, is because you look at across the league and across these media networks, myself included, there was not too many people that were, one, picking the Brewers to win the division, two, predicting that the Brewers would have the best record in Major League Baseball. I mean, through the first month and a half of the season, they were below 500. The Cubs seemed to be running away with that division. And if you look at their depth chart and their roster, it's a decent roster, but it's far from filled with all-stars. I mean, it consists of a lot of young guys. Sal Frelick at the top at age 25. Isaac Collins, not many people know about him. Their most notable guys are William Contreras, who was traded away from Atlanta a couple of years ago, and Christian Yelich, a former MVP, but hasn't really shown an ability to get back to that MVP form and has dealt with a lot of injuries. But it's been the complementary players. I'm getting Andrew Vaughn from Chicago. Who would have predicted that he would turn into Barry Bonds? Because that's what his numbers have been since coming over from the White Sox, a guy that had a negative WAR output across his 5-year career with Chicago. We always knew Milwaukee could pitch. I never would have guessed that they would be hitting the baseball like they are. And you look at the roster, even now, even with the record that they have, I would not have guessed that this team would be where they are right now. But again, I think that's what makes baseball so special, is it's one of the most unpredictable sports that we have today. For
the first few months of the season, they were scoring runs, but they weren't hitting home runs. Well, now they're hitting home runs, and they can't lose. They're on a 12-game winning streak. It's their second winning streak of at least 11 games this year. It's crazy what they're doing, and the fact that they're seemingly getting better as the year is moving along.
And that's the thing, is you want to get hot at the right time. That's the key to baseball. It's not just that your superstars play well. It's that your superstars have a good season, and then you also have career years from guys that you don't expect to have career years. Guys like Andrew Vaughn, guys like Isaac Collins, guys like a Caleb Durbin or a Quinn Priester, 11-2 this year with a 3.49 ERA. I mean, this is a guy that Priester was traded away from Boston for a complimentary minor league player over the offseason. Nobody was talking about this move. 11-2 and a 3.49 ERA. And the remarkable thing is a lot of people, myself included, thought the Brewers would take a step backwards when David Stearns went over to the New York Mets a couple of years ago. They also lost their one of their high-up front office members in Jake McKinley, who went over to the University of Nevada Wolfpack to coach a baseball team. He was highly considered one of their better recruiters, or not recruiters, but one of their better scouts. So they lost two key members of their front office in a 2-year span. And a lot of people, again, myself included, thought the Brewers would take a step backward, and they had contracts to deal with guys like Corbin Burns leaving, being traded away to Baltimore. And here they are a couple of years later, the best team in baseball, and not seemingly looking like they're going to slow down anytime soon. And, oh, by the way, they have been phenomenal against the Dodgers this year, who were considered at the beginning of the season potentially unbeatable. And I'll tell you what, there's not a team that wants to play the Brewers in the playoffs, and that includes the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Is it, the knock on them, and they did get to the NLCS, what was that, I guess, in 2017, but the knock on them for the most part is really good regular seasons and just postseasons that do not go the way that they would like them to go. They're really good right now in the regular season, but I think it's still a legit question on them on if they can parlay what they're doing in the regular season into the playoffs, which isn't totally fair because there's a lot of randomness that goes with the playoffs as well.
It's such a strange franchise, because if you were to ask someone of, say, my generation, I was born in 96, someone of a younger generation, the Gen Zers especially, if you were to ask them, okay, what do you think of the Brewers franchise? They would likely say, oh, like they're in the playoffs every single year. They're very competitive, very, very much like what the St. Louis Cardinals have been for decades now, for the most part. But if you look at their franchise's history, this is their 57th season for the Milwaukee Brewers. They have made the playoffs just 10 times in their 57 seasons. So to your point, this has not been a historically winning franchise by any means. And oh, by the way, I want to say they've won in their franchise's history. I think they've won maybe 3 playoff series in their entire franchise's history. I don't quote me on that, but it's something like 3 or 4 playoff series in their entire franchise's history. But they have made the playoffs, at least over this past decade. Well, I'm counting six times in the last decade, and it's going to be 7 in the last 8 years now. So it's just a really interesting franchise in that, yes, they have done a remarkable job in the regular season, but they haven't been able to get it done against the top-notch teams in the playoffs. I personally attribute that to a lack of star power for Milwaukee, a team that doesn't typically have a large payroll. But you saw them make some moves when they acquired a big name in CC Sabathia trade deadline, 15 years ago or so. Now, they didn't necessarily make that marquee trade at this trade deadline necessarily, but I do think your superstars do tend to come and play a little bit more come postseason time. Maybe that's when they take a step back, but I'm not going to die on that hill right now because they're looking like the best team in the league right now.
I always get curious what people think about the Cardinals from afar, and there's a lot more interesting teams from a national standpoint that are probably more likely to be playoff clubs than the Cardinals for people like you to pay attention to. But it's a team that sells at the deadline, and then they play some good baseball, and they get back within 3 games of a playoff spot as they take care of business against the Dodgers and the Cubs, and then they lose 2 of 3 to the Rockies and just have a terrible loss today where they're leading and they can't hold on to it. In many ways, this is just the life of watching a team that's going to be around 500, but it's just a weird season right now for St. Louis.
Yeah, they give themselves a chance to win ball games, but just on paper, they're just not as talented as, say, the Cubbies or even Milwaukee. I will say this, we just kind of slammed Milwaukee for not having a great roster on paper. If you went player by player, you could probably make the case that St. Louis, just based on names and their career, averages, OPS, their career statistics, you could probably make a case that St. Louis has as good of a roster as Milwaukee. But again, I alluded to this earlier. In order to be a playoff team and really a World Series contender for a season, you need your superstars to play well. And for St. Louis, Contreras has had an okay year. Arenado's been injured and it's looking like he's on the back end of his career. So for St. Louis, their superstars haven't played super well, whereas Milwaukee, Contreras, and Yelich have both played very, very well. And then on top of that, again, you need your complementary players to have career years. You need at least 1 or 2 of them to complement your stars. I mentioned Andrew Vaughn for the Milwaukee Brewers, Sal Frelick. They're having great years. As for the Cardinals, they've had some complementary players with Donovan and Burleson, and Mason Wynn has had his ups and downs. But as a complete team, they really haven't done it. And so, to your point, it's a decent roster and they have a decent record. I think this record is indicative of basically what this roster is. But the good news is that for St. Louis coming into the season, it was not looking like this was going to be a competitive season. I think if you are a St. Louis fan, you're looking at your prospects. The newest list came out from MLB.com yesterday of the midseason farm system rankings. They were listed at number 12. They have 4 players in the top 100 of your MLB top prospects. So you're at 500. You have 4 top 100 prospects, and you have shown the ability to still stay competitive despite having a mid roster. So I think if you are a Cardinals fan, it hasn't been a great season, but you got to like where you're at moving forward and for the future.
We're talking with Danny Vietti. That's a weird thing for Cardinals fans to hear, though, because they are so used to this team always being about winning at the highest level, winning at the major league level, and to hear about the hope that goes along with having 4 top 100 level prospects. I think a lot of Cardinals fans just don't want to hear that. They just want to hear about when is the next time that this team is going to be able to contend at the highest level. And I think right now that's still a question mark. And hopefully we learn more as Chaim Bloom takes over at the end of the season.
And I think what feeds into that too is the doubt with the top prospects as recency bias, right? Like Jordan Walker was supposed to be the guy, like the next guy to step up and be really the face of the franchise type player. it hasn't turned out that way. Similarly, their former top pitching prospect in Matthew Liberatore, he's shown an ability to pitch really well as a bullpen. As a starter, hasn't been as consistent. Has had a nice season this year, but overall, not quite what Cardinals fans were hoping for. So I think to your point, the recency bias kind of feeds into it. Like, okay, we've had some top prospects before, and they didn't quite turn out what we hoped to be. So you're telling me we have 4 more top 100 prospects. Who's to say who they're going to turn into? So I put the onus on the front office too, though, because it's not just that it's a mid roster, but you look at their inability to spend as a front office too. You got to be more than what it looks like 17th in baseball. $129 million is what their payroll is looking like. So the front office needs to take some responsibility too. If they truly want to be competitive in 2026, they've got to somehow find a way to get more funds and spend some money.
What do you make of just moving away from the Cardinals for a second before we let you go? The American League East is this whole story of what's going on is kind of wild with the Yankees not playing great baseball and their defensive issues. Toronto really coming on, and even Boston, as the year has gone along, they've just gotten better and better. There's some really intriguing narratives that go along with those 3 teams, and that's made this AL East battle pretty entertaining, not just from what's going on the field, but being able to talk about it as well.
You know what I love about the American League East this year is, especially in recent years, it's all about the long ball, right? It's all about how much you can slug, how many balls you can hit out of the ballpark. And this season, the New York Yankees lead all of Major League Baseball, 190 home runs this year. But offensively, man, they have taken a step backwards. And on the flip side of that, you look at Toronto, top of the division. They're 14th in baseball with 139 home runs this season. So they have about 60 home runs fewer, 50 home runs fewer than the New York Yankees. But batting average, that's something that people don't talk about nowadays, because batting average is not indicative, they say, of a successful hitter, so they say. Well, Toronto leads all of Major League Baseball with a .270 batting average. The New York Yankees are 14th in baseball with a .250 batting average. So I just find it interesting how everything kind of circles back. Everything is cyclical when it comes to baseball statistics. And right now, Toronto is showing that you don't necessarily need to lead the league in homers. You don't necessarily need to have the greatest slugging percentage in order to have a formidable offense. Toronto has had the best offense in that division, them along with Boston. And a lot of it is because their ability to hit not just the long ball, not just gap to gap, but they are hitting the ball for singles, and they're capitalizing with runners in scoring position.
Final thing for you, just look at the NL West. That's another one of these really compelling stories that's going on in baseball. And the Padres made such a splash at the trade deadline. The Dodgers offense has kind of gone into the tank here recently. And Padres fans are so excited about what their front office went out and did. And the way it's looking right now, it really feels like the Padres have a legitimate opportunity at taking this division.
As it stands right this second at, I'm Pacific time, so 5:34 Pacific time, the Padres currently are atop the National League West division. Now the Dodgers play tonight against the Angels, and they're only a half game behind, so they could tie the Padres tonight. But here's my thing with San Diego is I really hope they don't try and win this division. And hear me out on this, because I know that sounds crazy. But San Diego has been to the playoffs recently. They have toppled the Dodgers. They've fallen short against the Dodgers. I think for San Diego, it's not about making the playoffs anymore. Like, this team is striving for so much more. This is a team with Manny Machado, who's not getting any younger. This is a team with a pitching staff with expiring contracts like Michael King. Robert Suarez could be on the trade deadline, a trade candidate at the end of the season. You don't know what the future holds for this team. Xander Bogaerts, another example. He's under contract for a while, but he's actually starting to put some statistics together to have a successful season. You need to take advantage of the moment, and the moment is not winning a National League West title. And I think the players understand that, but from a fan perspective, some fans just take so much pride in division titles. Nowadays, they've got to strive for more. They were in the National Championship Series a couple of years ago, and they fell short. I think the Padres just really, their main goal is just getting healthy for the right time and getting hot at the right time, because I don't think a division title would be a success story for the Padres. I think if they fell short of a World Series, it would be a failure from the front office's perspective.
Danny Vietti, a big part of the team at CBS Sports, also co-host of the Wake and Rake podcast. You can follow along with that podcast on Twitter if you'd like as well. So a lot of places that you can find Danny. Always love being able to talk baseball with him. Danny, thanks so much for the time, and hopefully we can do this again down the line.
Yeah, appreciate the time, gentlemen. Hang in there, St. Louis fans. It'll get better.
All right, very good. That's Danny Vietti joining us, and we appreciate him taking a few moments with us. We've got about 25 minutes left in the program. We'll continue to talk Cardinals baseball as they are in a tough spot after losing 2 of 3 to the Rockies. They've got the Yankees coming to town for a 3-game series this upcoming weekend. If you want to join us, 314-436-7900. That's how you call. That's how you text. You can tweet at me as well, at Matt Pauley on air. Back with more in a moment on KMOX.
The Dave Glover Show.
If you sit down with me and we talk about who I am, what I am, my values, political, voting record, you're never going to walk away and go, that guy's a bleeding heart progressive. I'm just not stupid. And I just don't take bait. And I just don't do things because you tell me to, or that I'm afraid that if I don't, fall in line or get on the bandwagon, people aren't going to like me. Been there, done that for years.
The Dave Glover Show, now on FM, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Hi, this is Charlie Brennan, along with Dr. Colleen Bosler from the Audiology Center. Doctor, tell us a little something about the history of the Audiology Center.
At the Audiology Center, we care about our patients. They are like our family. For us, we want everyone to feel comfortable and confident in their choice to work with us. We ensure best practices for our patients, which include real ear measurements and testing to ensure the best possible outcomes for everyone with their hearing aids. Dr. Fahn started the Audiology Center in 1982, and I purchased the practice in 2017. Dr. Adam Voss joined us about a year ago, and we all want to use our educational backgrounds and our passion for hearing care to help everyone reconnect to their loved ones. We have been around for 43 years, and we want to earn your trust in your hearing care needs. We have 3 locations. Call us at 636-441-7470 or visit us online at theaudiologycenterstl.com.
Love being able to talk to you about my friends over at i3 Broadband. They're the internet service provider at our home, and we never have issues. I can really stop at that. There's a couple bottom lines here. Don't have issues. The service is great, and I'm paying less for it than what I paid when I had the cable company, and they were giving me lesser service than what I'm getting now. So there's really no reason not to make the switch. You can go to their website, i3broadband.com, and put in your address, see if they're available in your neighborhood. If you're saying, well, I've done that and they're not available in my neighborhood, well, I would say keep on trying, because they are continually adding more and more service areas throughout the St. Louis metro area. As I take walks around my neighborhood, I'll see the i3 trucks out, and I'll know that more and more people are getting their service. And it's a really easy decision, because when you've got some of these other internet service providers, you're paying a ton of money. You have the dropouts that happen for random reasons. Bad weather comes in. All of a sudden, you don't have internet for 3 days. You never have to worry about that with i3 Broadband. If you've got any questions beyond what I've just told you, you can always give them a call. They've got folks that can talk to you through every aspect of it. 877-976-0711. Or again, check them out online at i3broadband.com.
Let's go! You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson. Paid for by Action Matters. Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textingterms.us. Texting enrolls you for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop to opt out.
Attention parents of children who have used the gaming platform known as Roblox. If your child was a victim of sexual abuse or harm of any kind while using the Roblox platform, you may be entitled to compensation. Roblox is facing multiple high-profile lawsuits, including an ongoing class action, alleging it failed to protect users from foreseeable dangers that led to the grooming, exploitation, and sexual abuse of minors on the platform. Claims allege Roblox turned a blind eye to predators, unsafe games, and deceptive monetization practices that targeted children. Victims were contacted through in-game chats and coerced into private conversations on third-party apps. If you believe your child may have been a victim of grooming, sexual abuse, or harm of any kind while using the Roblox platform, you may be entitled to a cash settlement. Text our helpline now to find out if you have a viable compensation claim against Roblox. Text GONE to 32 32 32. That's GONE to 32 32 32. GONE to 32 32 32.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. We're dedicated to serving people 50 and up like me. Our needs are different. Big Wireless wants us in an unlimited plan, but if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used. At Consumer Cellular, we're focused on affordable, reliable plans, including data that suits your needs, not ours. Our plans start at just $20, and you'll get the best customer service in the business.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/facts or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Cards manager Ollie Marble joins the Gas House Gang every Tuesday at noon. Sponsored by Siteman Cancer Center. On the voice of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Back at it as we roll on with the Gray Bar Sports Open Line. Have about a little bit less than 20 minutes to go here on the program. Talking Cardinals baseball. This is kind of I don't know. It's therapy session is probably too strong of a word, but I don't know. It feels like it's another reset moment. Sometimes I talk about mile marker points in the season. It's not a mile marker point, but it is kind of it was a sobering loss today, right? That was one, because every single time there's a little bit of hope. Every single time you feel like, okay, maybe, just maybe this team can kind of sneak back into something and have a lot of competitive games left. And when I say competitive, I mean games that still mean something. They have moments like these where it just does not look good. John sent in a message on our video stream and said, the Cardinals are mediocre. That by definition means some good stretches and some really bad stretches. Mediocrity is frustrating because you have glimpses of hope while you ride the train. That's well said, John. That is very well said. And that's better than I said it for sure. And I appreciate that message coming in. It is frustrating, because you do see, and I tend to be an optimist about things. I tend to be hopeful. I love baseball games that matter. I love playoff games. And, I've talked about this before, and I'm not just trying to beat this into the ground. And bluntly and honestly, right now, it feels like kind of a moot point, because it doesn't feel like right now that this team is likely to have that door really open again where they could march towards a playoff berth. But that being said, I mean, they're 4.5 games out of a playoff spot right now. If the Mets were to lose tonight, they're at 4 games. They're not completely knocked all the way down. It's just the optics of you lose 2 of 3 to the Rockies, and how does that come back around to being a team that's going to win enough games to cut down this deficit that's in front of them? And that's where I have a hard time with it, where it just seems like at some point the wheels are going to start to come off a little bit more than they already have. And the other side of this is, are the Mets going to continue to struggle the way they have struggled recently? Or is what happened yesterday, where they beat the Braves 13-5, going to kind of get them out of it? And I don't really know. I think a lot of the Mets, I think the Mets are a really, really good team. So when they went and lost 7 in a row, and I think 11 of 12, I didn't understand what was going on. I didn't get how that team goes into that kind of a lull. But more importantly, I don't think they stay there. And if they don't stay there, it's kind of all for naught. And I've talked about this before as well. This is where I would much rather be the St. Louis Cardinals than the Cincinnati Reds, because the Reds are more in the playoff hunt than the Cardinals are right now. The Reds are only a game and a half out of playoff spot. But if we're going to sit here under the premise that, well, the Mets are going to turn things back on again, that kind of closes the door for any team that's not already a playoff team in the National League to be one. And if you're the Reds, what you bought at the deadline wasn't a big time buy. You made your team marginally better. And I think fans in Cincinnati can appreciate that. But what does it result in? And is there value in playing games that matter in the month of September? Yeah, of course there is. That's kind of what I've hoped for with the Cardinals. That's my hope, and I think is still hope that can remain true. And this is a team that, hey, if they go win a couple games and the Mets lose a couple games, they can be right back where they're 3 games out, 2.5 games out, whatever it might be. As you do that, it gives you the opportunity to continue to play games that matter into September. And I think that's good for this young team. But at the same time, we say young team, there's a lot of guys on this team who've got a lot of at-bats in Major League Baseball and a lot of innings pitched in Major League Baseball. I do think from a bullpen perspective, you've got some youth that's going to get some experiences here that's going to be fun to watch. And also the other reason not to be overly upset about what happened today was when we saw what the Cardinals did at the trade deadline, when they moved on from Ryan Helsley and Phil Maton and Steven Matz. I can remember talking about it and saying, well, you can be excited about what this group of young pitchers can do in the bullpen, but there is going to be a higher percentage chance now that there's just going to be some days where it does not go well. Now, it wasn't the super young guy today that let it go. It was JoJo Romero, who's been very good, but the point remains that you've got guys in different roles. You've got established relief pitchers that are not around anymore. There's going to be a higher percentage chance that maybe something does not go especially well for this team at the back end of the bullpen. And you give credit for how good they've been, and you watch with curiosity on how good they can continue to be moving forward as they try to play out the season. And I think it was Bernie who said it earlier. There is certainly some value in watching some of these young guys perform out of the bullpen, because you're going to be looking for individuals who you can count on as high leverage arms next year. So that's where there is a whole lot of value in what's going on right now. We'll take one more break. We'll come back. We had an interesting situation in the Cardinals radio booth today. I tweeted about it a little bit, but Michael Langston is here. He is producing. He was in the booth when I was in the booth. It was something to see, literally. We'll tell you all about it when we wrap up this edition of a Gray Bar Sports Open Line in just a moment, right here on KMOX.
To have a roof over your head, a nice roof over your head, is very important.
That's Rick talking.
It's never too early to start thinking about your retirement journey, and it's never too late either. You just need to know that the steps may look a little different. Listen to Wealth and Wisdom with Gary Goldberg, Saturday mornings at 7 here on KMOX.
To have a roof over your head, a nice roof over your head, is very important.
That's Rick talking about his experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago, and they're very cooperative on getting us the right paint. They're in and out and done in no time. Once it was finished, looked great. We were very happy with it.
The main reason Rick called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by a 25-year transferable warranty.
We've watched a lot of people get their house painted 3 or 4 times, and we haven't had to do any of it. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to have to paint it every 5-7 years.
Take a tip from Rick and put down the paintbrush and call Rhino Shield for your free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago. Financially makes sense, especially if it's going to last like this did. Still looks great.
Call now. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Have you ever wondered what it would be like to stand on the mound and throw out the first pitch at a Cardinals game? Well, this is your chance to experience it for yourself all week long. Listen to Total Information AM for your chance to win the grand prize of a first pitch at the August 17th Cards-Dodgers game and a Shanco gift card. Grand prize courtesy of Shanco. More information on how you can throw out the first pitch? Log on to KMOX.com/contests.
1 in 4 people surveyed by Bankrate.com say they're literally losing sleep because of worries that they may have not saved enough to retire. If you're ready to get serious about planning for your financial future, you could start by listening to the All Financial Hour with host Steve All of the All Financial Group.
What are your wishes, hopes, and dreams? What's retirement look like for you? Because everybody, that picture is different. If you want assistance, we can also help you at that point.
Saturday mornings at 10 or Sunday evenings at 6, right here on KMOX.
Paul's new drone startup just lost its most genius computer scientist.
We just lost our best genius to some new genius who's got a genius new idea. I'm going to have to find a new genius or 2 half geniuses and fast.
He needs a computer scientist that can keep his startup from falling down.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports Open Line. Once again, Matt Pauley on KMOX.
Just a few minutes left here in the program. It is a Gray Bar Sports Open Line right here on KMOX. My name is Matt Pauley. Great to have you with us today. So we had something happen inside the Cardinals radio booth today. I can admit my fears. I can admit things I don't like. I don't like stinging insects. I don't like bees. I don't like wasps. I don't like hornets. I don't like any of those things. And Michael Langston is here today. Michael, we were in the radio booth today.
Yes, we were.
And we looked up and we saw, I can honestly say it looked like a hornet. I guess it was technically a wasp.
Yes.
It was the largest one I have ever seen in my life, without a doubt.
We were able to determine it was a female.
Okay.
Because what was it? A cicada killer
The
wasp.
Eastern cicada killer.
Yes.
Yes.
And as someone who has been stung by several animals, wasps, bees, scorpions, those kind of things, that would have been the largest. The thorax on that thing was just massive.
It had to be at least 3 inches long total, if not maybe 4.
Yes. And I've never seen a wasp, a hornet, anything like that the stripes were black and white. It was not black and gold or black and yellow. And that was all very off-putting and super scary.
Yes. And it was up in one of the lights. And every once in a while, it would kind of come down and it would buzz around and it would startle everybody.
It was a loud buzz. It wasn't just a quiet.
Yes, it was a very loud buzz. So you were there longer. I had to make my way downstairs to the studio where we do the post-game show and everything. You were there longer than me, but I hear that it was left there.
Yes. So you left and went downstairs, and longtime KMOX listeners know the name Ben Boyd and Kyle Sixta. So it was us 4 in the booth, and then you left, and then Ben retreated and came back, and then Kyle had to go down and get everything ready for postgame. I went in there postgame, and it was Ben Boyd, myself, and Jim Jackson, and it had moved to the other light.
Huh.
So there's 2 sets of lights to kind of paint the picture of the Cardinals booth, 2 sets of large fluorescent lights. The one further back is where it was. When we left, it was in the one closer to the big window.
And you guys did some research. Was it the female or the male that would dive bomb?
It was the male.
Okay, so that's
we were
good.
all very, very glad it was the female.
How did you guys figure out it was the female?
Because the females are also, like, I guess, twice as large as the males.
Huh. Okay.
I did not get this merit badge at all when I was in scouts. So my level of expertise, take it with a grain of salt. I'm more of a baseball guy myself than an insectologist or whatever they're called. But it was absolutely terrifying.
It was. And you couldn't just like watch the baseball game without having this feeling of dread of this huge hornet that was right behind you.
It also didn't help that sometimes Kyle Sixta would take his fingers behind my neck and kind of try to play with it a little bit, like it was crawling on there.
At one point, I'm under it, and Ben comes up like he's going to try to swat it away. So I take off running across it was not my proudest moment.
No, it was terrifying. there are bugs that come in there a lot, but normally they're like beetles or something, and then they'll fly right out.
Yeah.
I've never seen that. Luckily, through more research, it seems like those bugs are more loner bugs. You don't really see them in big hives, if any hives at all, whenever they're out and about. And they don't do anything to humans, is what the research was saying.
Okay, because remember a couple years ago in the state of Washington, there was all the murder hornets.
Yes, that's what we thought it was.
Right.
That's immediately what we went to, was the murder hornet.
It was huge.
Yeah.
I've never seen a bug like that large in my life. Again, going back to it. So yeah, we all thought it was the murder hornet, and I guess it's not. I guess it likes to eat on cicadas. Where was it last summer when we really needed it?
I know, right?
If it's the cicada killer.
What burrow is it coming out of now?
Who names it a cicada killer?
The smart insect people.
How does that? Hey, we see that thing munching on a cicada. Let's call this the cicada killer.
Very, very creative names.
So that's how we finish off Sports Open Line today, telling you the story of as the Cardinals game is going on and as the broadcast is taking place today, all in the background, people like me are worried of what I thought at first was a murder hornet and was a eastern cicada killer. And as far as we know, it is still in the Cardinal broadcast booth. We'll talk to you tomorrow here on KMOX.
You've got a ton of equity in your home. You're sitting on a gold mine, and you could